See if this works here. See if my see if my mic's working. Mic check, mic check. See if this works here. See if my. All right. Oh, should be good. All right. I don't know if I'm gonna get into Candace first or if I want to get into this Gideon stuff first. We'll let some people get in here and then we'll get into it. I suppose. Let's see. Make sure everything's working here proper. All right. So I didn't see this. It must have just played automatically on my TV or something because it says that I watched it, but I did not watch it. So I love the smell of this stuff. We're gonna get into it. Apparently, Brian Harpole is suing Candace Owens, just one of another lawsuit she's getting, and I must say that it's gonna be interesting to hear from her. What is this long hair on my beard? Then we're gonna go over a lawyer talking to Gideon about the David case and things of that nature. Other than that, man, I don't know. We're just gonna get into it. I don't know why I'm so crabby today. Not crabby, but I don't know. Sometimes you just have shit build up and then it just fucking comes out one day and then you're happy the next week and that comes out again. Alright, so we're gonna get this going. Again, much love to everybody who supports the channel. We are so close to the amount of subs we need. Let's see. Let me get the sub count up quick. Let's get this sub count going. Man, my numbers are down, man. It's crazy. But sure, it's my fault. Alright, guys. We need 20 more subs, bro. 20 more subscribers, and we will be at 11K. 20 more, man. That's all we need. 20 more people. So show some love. We will go over this after we're done going over the Candace shit, I guess. And we'll get into it. Other than that, yeah.
All right, you guys, man, oh man, so much to unpack today. First and foremost, I woke up this morning and I was highly upset. I had a little bit of a yesterday news hangover. I realized that I'm actually so not okay with what Erica Kirk did. She essentially put a target on my back by wrongly asserting that I accused her of murdering her husband. I don't think we can let that fly, right? No, her punishment is going to be more truth. I always say she is sentenced to more truth, and I have been keeping a little secret, and it's time for me to reveal it. Also, I am getting the sense that there is something happening, something big happening. It feels like people are upping the crazy a little bit. Something is coming undone in the background. And on that note, the big news of the day is guess who crawled from under his rock, apparently, and sent me a full-blown lawsuit. Yes, Brian Harpole. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe that that would grant me, your girl, the power of subpoena. Let's get started. Welcome back to Candace.
Yeah, what's crazy is if Brian Harpole is suing Candace, that's a bad move, man, because there's going to be discovery, there's going to be motions made to just, find things and get things figured out when it comes to information, because what's he suing her about? Oh, what he said about the event. Well, there's going to be a big discovery then on what went down, how it went down, and information portraying to the event. So it's a dumb move from Brian if it's about that.
So let me back up. I was standing in Charlotte Airport about to board my flight to Italy last week, and I received an email. me and my lawyers received an email. It was randomly sent to us. It was something like a retraction demand, but it wasn't actually a retraction demand because his lawyer, Brian Harpole's lawyer, asserted at the top right away that they were already going to file the lawsuit no matter what in 4 days. This was kind of just a nice heads up that these are our claims that we will be making. What? How curious. What do you mean? You never communicated with me, we never spoke, you never issued any sort of retraction.
Anyone listening to a stream, make sure you guys like the stream, man. Show some love and support. Hit the subscribe button.
I reached out. This is not at all how it normally goes.
20 more subs to reach 11K.
Pretty accustomed to how lawsuits work. In fact, I can tell you that's never gone like this, ever, for me. You send, hey, that's what you said is not right. Retract it, or else I am going to sue you. Brian Harpole did no such thing. Okay. So before I tell you why I believe he's doing this, and again, this is my opinion, because this is a very curious strategy, I'm going to at first take you through some of the highlights of the demand, which was poorly organized, but it is really just kind of summarizes the actual lawsuit, which he has now filed. In other words, I want you to understand he had the lawsuit prepared first before he sent me this notification type demand, okay? Pardon me. I also want to mention, because it feels important, that Brian Harpole is using the same lawyer the Daily Wire used to sue me in arbitration for 2 years straight. I'm not going to name the firm, even though the lawyer is publicly tweeting and also has a YouTube channel, so it's not hard to find. But I will just say that's another coincidence. I'm very tired of this guy altogether, mostly because he speaks like he's consumed helium. Anyway, let's get into Brian Harpole's stated grievances, okay? First up, he wants to sue me. He's suing me for maligning him when I suggested, when I stated that not having an ambulance on standby is inappropriate. It's wrong. I'm not kidding. This is what was written. It reads, in your podcast episode titled, Why is Everyone Crashing Out Over the Charlie Kirk Investigation? You maligned Kirk's security team, including Mr. Harpole, by stating, quote, in real life, when you spend millions of dollars on security, on your security detail, they don't have you sitting like a duck and forget to have an ambulance behind you. This statement not only incorrectly calls into question the competence of Mr. Harpole and his team, but it defames Mr. Harpole by falsely accusing him and his team of criminal negligence by failing to render aid to Kirk after.
Yo, like, this sounds like projection. Like, I'm not even gonna lie. Like, it says, in real life, when you spend millions of dollars on a security detail, you don't have them sitting like a duck, whatever. Like, dude, that's true. Like, if I spend millions of dollars for you to secure me at a fucking event, think you're gonna have an ambulance there, right? Or you're gonna have at least all the protocols down. I pay millions of dollars for you guys. I'm pretty sure you're gonna have what needs to be had, right? And then when it's funny, they sit here and they mention she's falsely accusing him and his team of criminal negligence by failing to render aid to Kirk. I don't know. It just seems like it's projection to me, man. Like, I can sit here and say I think this is what happened. It didn't look like you guys rendered much aid. That's not defamation. It's what I think. She never said it's true, right?
He was shot. Okay, so competence is a matter of opinion, Brian. I don't believe you can sue people for thinking that you're stupid or that you're ugly or that you're fat. I don't believe I can sue Trump for thinking Brigitte is the most beautiful woman in the world, more beautiful than me at the very least. It's not even close, as he says. And I don't think I can sue Trump for making the repeated claim that he views me as someone that is low IQ. So I don't know that competence is really a claim. Also, I would argue that it is almost a matter of fact that a security team that is paid many millions of dollars annually should have had an ambulance on standby at an event, especially when it was a part of their normal repertoire to do so. Is everybody forgetting? I used to work for Turning Point USA. I'm fairly certain that almost probably at each and every one of my many events that I've done with Turning Point USA during a time period when Brian Harpole was always a member of the security team, we had an ambulance on standby. So that actually felt exceptional to me. It is not my opinion that, it is my opinion that not having one on standby, especially when the person that you are providing executive protection to texts you guys the night before and says, I think I'm going to be killed. It's my opinion that it demonstrates professional incompetence not to have an ambulance on standby in case anything happens. Sorry, Brian. I most certainly did not accuse you of criminal negligence. That term did not come from this podcast. In fact, I hadn't even thought of that term until you put it all over a lawsuit. So we should just look that up and see what the definition is. I did. It says definition of criminal negligence is a reckless disregard for human life or a gross deviation from the standard of care that a reasonable person would observe, resulting in serious harm or death. Okay? Unlike civil negligence, it is a crime prosecuted by the state, often leading to imprisonment, involuntary manslaughter charges, or major felonies. Okay. Thank you for introducing us to that legal term, Brian. What else is Brian upset about? Well, I would argue that the next point actually demonstrates incompetence, okay? Brian wants to sue me for something that I literally never said about him. Mind you, this was actually the very first point of the letter. It was dizzying. It reads, it is in your podcast episode titled Charlie's Angels or Demons, you implied that Charlie Kirk's security team, including Mr. Harpole, had insider knowledge about Kirk's assassination. Specifically, you questioned how the security team knew that Charlie Kirk was dead before official confirmation. The false and defamatory nature of the statement is obvious, as it implies that Mr. Harpole and his security team not only had foreknowledge of the assassination, but were also complicit in it. Want to know the truth? In that particular episode, we never mentioned Brian Harpole or referred to him even once. The episode, as it implies, is about specifically Charlie's chief of staff and Terrell Farnsworth, the head of the AV team. The specific quotation to which he's referring to is about Terrell Farnsworth, because it was Terrell Farnsworth who...
Welcome in, everybody that's new to the stream. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. Join the See Me Now family. I appreciate you guys for being here. Happy Monday. Make sure you double tap the screen, man. Get those likes up. Help propel me into the algorithm. If double tapping doesn't work, make sure you hit the 3 dots in the top right corner and hit the like button that way. But guys, I just need 20 more people to hit the sub button so we can get to 11K subs, man. We're this close. We've been this close for a month now. Come on, y'all. Show some love, man.
Notoriously announced in a selfie video that Charlie Kirk was dead like 2 minutes after Charlie went down. So when no one could have possibly known Charlie was dead. Okay. My full quotation, which for some reason is not included, was, what were Charlie's closest friends and allies and the people that were going to carry on the torch at Turning Point USA doing? Oh, they were picking up phone calls like Mikey McCoy. They were already filming themselves prematurely announcing Charlie is dead when not a single person could have known that Charlie Kirk was dead. End quote. That is a factual quotation referring to the immediate actions taken by Mikey McCoy and Terrell Farnsworth. Thank you, Brian. I hope that clears that matter up. What else do you have? It looks like this next one is a bit of a double punch. He wants to sue me for describing his outfit, foremost, you'll see. And then he wants to sue me for having ears and a general sense of comprehension, I guess. Like I'm able to comprehend the words that are coming out of people's mouths. I took notice that, as many people did, that there were conflicting statements made by Turning Point USA on that day. Now, there may be a valid excuse for those discrepancies in messaging. However, you cannot punish the public for noticing them. Okay, I'm referring to the drones. So this claim reads, in your podcast episode entitled "The Great Exodus from Utah," you again falsely claimed that Mr. Harpole failed to render aid to Kirk after he was shot, but this time you incorrectly claimed that Harpole failed to render effective aid to Kirk with his supposed-to-be medical bag. Okay. Later in the episode, you falsely accused Mr. Harpole of lying about drone availability, asking, is that how these assassinations happen? Together, these statements defame Mr. Harpole by accusing him of being a direct cause of Kirk's assassination. Mr. Harpole did not play a role in Kirk's assassination and did everything he could to render aid and assist Kirk after he was shot. Okay, so to address that obscure medical bag claim, the full quotation from my episode is just a mere description of Brian Harpole and his medical bag. I said exactly, quote, Brian is the one who then runs over to Charlie. And again, you recognize him because he kind of has that small, supposed-to-be medical bag over him. I'm completely confused as to how that description is in any way defamatory. I just wanted to alert viewers to the fact that he was not just wearing a man purse and it was supposed to be a medical bag. That's it. Now, regarding the drones, Brian Harpole's statement flew in direct contradiction to the statement that was given by Frank Turek. Okay, that's confusing for the public. Take a listen.
I spent thousands of dollars on drones last year and got guys licensed. But if the area lies in the Provo, Utah airspace, I can't fly it. That's a 107B. We can't break the rules. Right? And then you had secondary restrictions, probably due to heavy foot traffic for the school, but I can't go in and break the rules.
Anyway, my whole thing with the fucking drone thing is like, dude, how are you comparing flying a freaking drone for surveillance to keep this man safe to airplanes flying in the fucking sky? Bro, you only need to fly this drone like 50 feet in the air, you know? Like it's not like you're flying a drone the size of a damn car. You know what I mean? Like, how can you not? How is it even a problem? You have this high profile political speaker coming to a college campus and you're telling me that because it was close to an airspace, you can't fly a fucking drone close to the it's just, to me, that's just such a bullshit thing to say.
On our way in, we had drone footage of the crowd building. And
welcome in, guys.
had Charlie.
Show
had it
some
on
love
his
and
phone.
support
I
by
said,
liking
"Charlie,
the stream,
I
man.
don't
Make
like
sure you
this
guys
place.
subscribe. We
Too
only need
many
20 more
buildings."
people to hit the sub button to be at 11K
Charlie
subs,
just kind
man.
of brushed it off because, look, we have a security team, and he wasn't going to cancel an event.
So we're driving in, Megan, and his team has drones up, looking at the crowd from above, and they text him some video. And there's thousands of people there an hour before the start. And I said, Charlie, I don't like this place. There's too many buildings.
Now, again, there very much could be a clear reason as to why these statements are conflicting, but you can't be mad at the public for noticing that the statements are conflicting. Also, did anybody actually fact check Brian Harpole's earlier point? Because I did. He says, well, I can't break the rules. You can't fly drones in Provo airspace. Well, I actually spoke to someone regarding that who has good knowledge of the rules regarding Provo airspace. And he said, yeah, you can't fly in Provo airspace, meaning around airports. You would have to get clearance.
Welcome in,
You can't
Stacy. Much
fly,
love.
near hangars, but you can fly drones in Provo. So his whole excuse of why he didn't even bring drones, we should probably take a second glance at. Again, this is according to a pilot who I know who's in charge of drone training. So a lot
you're doing good,
doesn't seem to be
Stacey.
adding up there. You can clarify that, but you can't pretend that someone tried to defame you unless you're going to go after Frank Turek. Anyway, let's actually pivot to the lawsuit because it is remarkable. Okay, the lawsuit itself is 69 pages, and for some unknown reason, he begins the lawsuit, and I'm talking like the first few pages with strong support for Israel. I guess that's mandatory. Candace is anti-Semitic, just even though Brian Harpole's not Jewish. I am not Jewish. Charlie was not Jewish. He mentions this just kind of sporadically in a paragraph where he's painting this picture that I'm a conspiracy theorist. They also mention, we can bring this up here on point 19, that I don't believe the moon landing. Guilty as charged. Guilty as charged. I think the moon landing was fake. I'm not sure what this has to do with anything, if I'm required to believe the moon landing is real. But he just kind of mentions that. And then, you got to have that random strong support for Israel right at the top, which is why also embedded is the mandatory picture of Bibi Netanyahu. You got to let these people know where you stand on Israel.
You can just go to my Ko-Fi. If it's if it's any, that's why I set the super chat goal at $5. Because if it's anything above $5, just go to my bio and go to the link, the Ko-Fi, and it's just like it's pretty self-explanatory when you go to the page, but because YouTube takes 30% and Ko-Fi takes like 5%, it is YouTube's right to take that 30%, but a lot of people, when they donate like $50, $100, they don't know that YouTube takes that, so they would prefer to go to Ko-Fi. So that's just what I'm gonna tell you guys. But much love to everybody who's here, man. Make sure you guys like the stream, show some love and support. Let's try and hit 100 likes today. Make sure you guys hit the subscribe button. We just need 20 beautiful people to hit the subscribe button, and we will be at 11K subs, man. All right? 20 more beautiful people just need to hit that sub button. 19 now. 19 more beautiful people just need to hit that sub button, and we will be at 11K subs.
Israel before you even get into the
and
substance.
For those of you who are just coming in, Candace Owens is apparently getting sued by Charlie Kirk's security, Brian Harpole or whatever. So she's just explaining the lawsuit.
Of a lawsuit. So I appreciate that preamble. That's just called our standard constitutional preamble. He's with Israel. Okay, cool. I'm going to do that when I respond. I'm going to say, I just want you to know, I love Israel. Just saying that. I now want to draw your attention to the obscure argument that he is making. So just pages and pages of him just kind of painting a picture of who I am. But he comes out and kind of makes this obscure argument that he is a private citizen. Okay, that's point 29. He's trying to assert that he's a private citizen. Now, let's take a look at this. Despite 2 podcast appearances, Harpole remains a private individual and not a limited purpose public figure. He has social media accounts.
And again, you don't have to. I mean, it's just a daily goal. Obviously, when I stream and I do this daily, I got to make money somehow. I'm trying to make this my full-time career, and we're building this channel. We're building a family. But I mean, I know times are tough. So, I mean, it's completely, don't do it if you, if it's, just don't do it if you can't. You know what I mean? I'm not saying you don't have money, but I'm just saying, trust me. $10 for a box of Cheerios. Our economy's fucked up right now. All right, so show some love and support by liking and subscribing. That's enough. But if you can donate.
He does not use for posting content. He has no public platforms to effectively rebut or counteract statements, and his involvement in the controversy is limited to 2 defensive appearances. He did not seek publicity or attempt to influence public debate. Huh? I'm sorry. First and foremost, why is he doing that? That's very important. Let's get to why he is trying to assert that. I know I went on Sean Ryan, but I'm a private citizen. That's because he doesn't want to have to meet the actual malice standard, right? You're a public figure. You have to meet the actual malice standard. Meaning you have to prove that I knowingly published something that was false and that I did it and acted in total disregard to the truth. I knew what the truth was, and I said, I don't care, I'm going to publish this. It's a hard standard to meet. That would be, in my view, for Brian to assert that he's not a public figure here, that would be hard because Brian did actually go and pursue not just any podcast, okay? One of the top podcasts in the world, the Sean Ryan podcast, and he opened himself up. What is the law in the books when you do that? The rule is that private citizens can indeed become limited purpose public figures when they voluntarily thrust themselves into the forefront of a particular public controversy to influence its outcome. In such cases, they are considered public figures only for the context of that specific issue and for a limited time. That's exactly what Brian Harpel did. Okay, he went and he's going to argue, well, I did it defensively. You went on a public platform and you gave information about what the security did, all these questions that were being asked. And you're going to claim, which he does, this is wild, that the reason he went on Sean Ryan, this is crazy to me. He is saying that the reason he went on Sean Ryan was because of me. That is beyond. Okay, let's look at this point 28. On November 17th, after Owens and other conspiracy theorists had already implicated Harpel and his team in the assassination.
Well, it does make sense, right? Because Candace was leading the forefront of the side investigation, the people's investigation into the assassination. And that's where basically all the, where all the comments and where all the, why this guy's like literally laying on my table right now. Look at this guy. Hold on. Look at this fella. Look at this man right down here. Can you see him? Are you able to see him down here? Anyways, that's where all the pressure was coming from, was Candace Owens leading the investigation, right? So, I mean, I guess that makes sense a little bit, but you still chose to go on the podcast. Like, you didn't have to go on the podcast.
Nation. Harpel appeared on the Sean Ryan show solely to respond to and to rebut the defamatory statements. I'm sorry, what? That's going to be a tricky one to prove in court, considered I never once mentioned Brian Harpel on my show until after he went on Sean Ryan. Literally, not once did I mention Brian Harpel's name on my podcast. I mentioned his name 2 days after he went on Sean Ryan, and it was in direct response to his disastrous appearance.
He is just laying down here. Look at him. What a goober.
On Sean Ryan. His appearance was on November 17th. The first time I mentioned him on this show was on November 19th. In other words, you elected yourself as a spokesperson for the security team, thereby making yourself a public figure,
Thank
and
you,
I responded to it, okay? Here's where it gets even crazier, though. Him pretending that I was a part of the early conspiracies against him. I did not believe the early conspiracies against Brian Harpel. Okay, not only that, I went through great lengths to defend both Brian Harpel and Dan Flood without mentioning their names because I didn't want the public to find them when all the early conspiracies started flying. Specifically, the conspiracies were about hand signals. You remember? Frank Turk's doing hand signals. It looks like Dan Flood's doing hand signals. It looks like Brian Harpel is doing hand signals behind his back, and they're all looped in. I didn't believe it. I genuinely didn't believe it. I didn't believe any of these people had anything to do with anything because I knew Turning Point. And so I spoke to Andrew Colvett on the phone about how I did not believe any of that. And Andrew asked me if I would be willing to say something publicly on my podcast to that effect because they were getting hammered. And I said, of course I will. These are good guys. Here is the text message that I sent to Andrew Colvett following that discussion on the phone. I said, also, yes, I will say something about the security. I know them well, which is why I never bought into people saying that he was making signals. And guess what I did, guys? On that very same day in September, on this podcast, I defended the security team and Dan Flood and said that they were good people. Here are my words. I know there's a lot of conspiracy theories floating in about the security guard and people thinking he was making gestures. I know that security person. He's a good guy. It would shock me. I usually get a vibe about somebody. Not that guy. Not the guy that they say he's like rolling up. He tends to do that, roll up his sleeves. I don't buy that one. Okay? I don't buy that one. Wow. You're saying you went on Sean Ryan because of things that I was saying, and that's what I was saying. Again, it was because of his behavior and what he said on Sean Ryan's show, which I found to be unconvincing, which is he's suing me for saying that interview was unconvincing, which made me feel weird and take a second look. This has been a very natural process for me. I did not come into this guns a-blazing, so to speak, against Turning Point USA. And to get to this bigger part, this really feels to me like one big PR move, okay? It feels like he's kind of trying to pull the Blake Lively. He wants to make the claim that he's not a public figure. And that's specifically because a large chunk of his claims are pertaining to Mitch Snow, who he is also suing, by the way. And what is not helpful to his claims.
What's weird is we haven't heard about that yet. I wonder if she's kind of like pivoting away from the whole Mitch Snow, Fort Huachuca narrative.
To sue me and Mitch Snow is the fact that I reached out to Brian Harpole personally before I featured Mitch Snow on this podcast, okay? So the story goes that on November 8th, I at first mentioned that there was someone who thought that they saw Brian Harpole at Fort Huachuca, that I, examined the person's documents, whatever. I found him to be credible, as in I believed he said when he said he was. It was a solo episode on December 9th. And if you recall, it caused mass panic. So I was intending to interview Mitch Snow, and then craziness started, right? Erica Kirk did her just stop tour. She's out there saying stop. Privately, I was effectively being threatened behind the scenes not to speak to Mitch Snow. They knew I wanted to interview him, and someone reached out to me. And this was coming through Paramount Tactical and the Valhalla guy. And they were saying, if you do this, if you interview Mitch wasn't even in the military. They're running in different directions. He's a complete fraud. He's never been to Fort Huachuca. And if you actually interview Mitch, Brian Harpole, where he's going to sue you. That's what came down the pipeline to me. So before I even got to do the interview, Brian Harpole was telling people to say that.
Hey guys, make sure you guys double tap the screen, man. Show some love and support. Sorry, saying the flattering face to pause you on, Candace. You look like you're about to rip a fat fart. But make sure you guys double tap the screen, man. Show some love and support. We're only at 8 likes. I need you beautiful people to just double tap your screens, get those likes up, and hit the subscribe button, man. We're like 19 subs away from 11K. Show some love and support, man. Join the See Me Now army, okay? Just do it.
If I interview this
Join
guy,
the best community
I'm
on
going to
YouTube.
sue you. And I thought that was completely deranged. I said, look, this is crazy. Brian Harpole has my number. Why is he sending out these random YouTubers? He knows who I am. I've defended him on his podcast. So I reached out to him before we hosted Mitch Snow to get his fuller story and to say, hey, you're welcome to tell me that you just weren't there. Like, what's up? We don't have to, I don't want to host this guy. Like, why are you being all weird? I asked him then beyond that if he wanted to clarify anything. I sent Brian Harpole, I think a total of 4 messages. And I also sent Dan Flood a message. Again, from the day before or 2 days before I interviewed Mitch Snow through to January.
Yeah, that's what I was just saying, Jessica, is that, I think it's a bad move for Brian Harpole to be suing Candace right now. Because the moment that it goes the way it's going to go, she's going to get discovery. She's going to be able to find out more things about what was going on that day when Charlie was assassinated. She's going to be getting more information, and guess who else is going to be getting that information? Us. She's going to be coming on stream, saying what's going on, probably after, though. You can't really talk about while the lawsuit's going on, but, there's going to be a lot of information that she's going to be able to gather just through the discovery process.
Trying to get him to just say yes or no. And he actually, remarkably, embeds these many messages to him in the lawsuit. And that's going to be point 54 to 55. He just embeds these into the lawsuit. Hi, Brian, this is Candace Owens. A lot of people are telling me that you're planting seeds regarding a lawsuit. I wanted to see if you wanted to have an off-record discussion with me about anything, or if you'd like to simply clarify something that you think that I got wrong. You can see I followed up on December 19th. Hi, Brian, just again, reaching out in case you want to clarify your whereabouts on the morning of September 9th. I'm only interested in the truth. So I would be happy to debunk Mitch if he perhaps is misremembering the faces that he saw. No response. I think they also put a third message in there. I don't know if you can scroll and see that, or if that's not attached yet. But like I said, multiple messages that I sent him, he just didn't answer. So why? Why didn't Brian Harpole simply respond? Why didn't you send a cease and desist a long time ago? Why did you ask me for a retraction? Here's another one. Hey, Brian, reaching out again to see if you'd be willing to speak about the morning of the night. I'm obviously not trying to do anything other than debunk Mitch, so I can pivot and refocus the investigation, but I oddly cannot get you to confirm or deny if you were there. He's acknowledging he received these messages and he chose not to respond. Again, why? Well, lucky for us, he's going to explain it in a lawsuit. And this is the wildest point of all. It's actually insane. It's an insane reason. In my view, it's insane to assert that this is the reason that you did not respond to my 3 messages to you, 1 message to Dan Flood. This is his point number 50. Ready? Point number 59, I think it is. Here we go. Owens soon texted Harpole a 3rd time, asking again if he would like to speak about the events that transpired on the morning of September 9th. Owens concluded her text message by stating that she found it odd that she could not get Harpole to confirm or deny his location on the morning of September 9th. Owens already knew why Harpole didn't respond. Her repeated texts to Harpole to get him to respond to the defamatory conspiracy theories that she had been promoting present a cynical attempt to profit from a situation that she had manufactured. By spreading defamatory lies about Harpole and then cajoling him to give her the exclusive content of a response, she stood to profit from increased attention and viewership to her platform at Harpole's expense. So he didn't reply with a yes or no because he didn't want to give me an exclusive yes or no, because then I would have made money on my platform. I didn't ask you for an exclusive. It would have put an end to me covering the story beyond. So actually, by not responding before I hosted Mitch, it didn't stop me from hosting Mitch. You also could have told Sean Ryan. You could have said, hey, Sean Ryan, I'm going to come on your platform because I don't want Candace to make any money saying yes or no. I don't want to give her this exclusive content. We're supposed to believe that's the reason? What, are we born yesterday? That's the reason? You didn't want me to make money? So you said, I'm just going to be so stressed out. I'm never going to say anything to her. This is in December. I'm actually going to wait until April. And then in April, I'm going to say, I'm just filing a lawsuit. I'm just filing a lawsuit. That doesn't ring true. That does not ring very true.
Hit that sub button, guys. Double tap your screens.
Lawsuit is he repeatedly claims that he's upset that I described him as having lied. Okay, well, you certainly lied by severe omission by not letting the viewers know that the text messages that you were presenting on Sean Ryan were not between you and the UVU police chief Long, right? Like when people were going, why didn't you secure the rooftops? You presented this text chain as if it was yours. In fact, you explicitly say the implication being that this is the reason I did not secure the rooftops. This text message is the reason. Take a listen to what he said.
On Monday before, this correspondence went to...
I'm not trying to... Dude, ever since she said he sounds like he's on helium, bro, his voice is funny to me. There's 70 of you guys in here, man. Make sure you guys double tap your screens. Come on, let's get to 50 likes. We just need 37 more beautiful people. Double tap that screen. We'll be at 50 likes. Hit the subscribe button. If everybody in here right now hit the sub button, we would be at 11K subs already, man. We just need 17 more beautiful people to hit the sub button, man.
Chief Long. Hello, Chief Long. We're going to see this message today from the student group. There is a student roof access pretty close to where CK will be set up at the Utah Valley. The Sorensen Center has a couple of staircases that go up to walkways on the roofs. He comes back, and for edification, the Sorensen Center was the building in front of the Lucy Center. And so he comes back and he says, you want access to the roof? And came back and said, I was told students have access above us. If this is true, it would be nice to either have it controlled access or allow one of my guys to be there as well, if possible.
You know, one thing that I'm thinking back when I'm watching this back is you're the fucking security. If Charlie Kirk is coming there and there's rooftop accesses to people, random people, you don't say it would be nice or if possible. You say, we either have some of my people up on that rooftop or we're not coming. Like, how are you like how is it even a option? It should just be like, no, we automatically, boom, we need to have people up there or we can't come here because it's a risk.
He comes back and his last correspondence was, I got you covered. What else am I to do?
He's a good actor, man.
When a command level
allegedly
person from an accredited police department says, I've got this area.
What else am I to do? He is heavily implying that I did what I had to do. I texted him. He said he had it covered. What else am I to do? And then we revealed on the show that those aren't even his messages. Those are Dan Flood's messages. And he admits that finally in this lawsuit that those are Dan Flood's messages. That was not an honest presentation to say, what else am I supposed to do if you are not even on that text chain? So yeah, I view that to be a lie by severe omission. I think the average person, jury pool, will say, yeah, no, that sounds like you were involved in this text chain and your excuse for why you did not secure the rooftops was because of this text chain. You never said, Dan got these messages. Here's what Dan said back. And what is so shocking about this is that throughout this lawsuit, he explicitly lies, that the lawyer explicitly lies in this filing by claiming that I asserted over and over again that Mitch Snow was telling the truth about Harpole, when in fact, no, I went through a great many pains to repeatedly assert publicly that I could not confirm that he saw Harpole. Okay, here is just one of many examples.
Being a guy who has covered Candace in this, I haven't really watched Candace Owens before. I knew of her, but before Charlie Kirk's assassination, I've never really watched her. But being a guy who has covered damn near most of her streams, we covered that stream. She said many times, we can't prove this. This is alleged, but tell me what you think. Tell me what you think to be true. But we can't prove this. That's why I had a hard time bringing you on, she said.
On my podcast, this is actually when I interviewed Mitch Snow, where I said, I can't confirm who you saw. Take a listen. And I want to be clear, I can confirm on this podcast live every step of your story in terms of where you went, what time you were there, that there was this big meeting that happened. I confirmed the location with other people that are on Fort Huachuca currently. I can confirm everything with metadata. I obviously can't confirm that you saw who you say you saw. I obviously can't confirm that you saw who you say you saw. And I said it repeatedly. And even in this filing, in his own legal filing, Brian's lawyer accuses me of confirming Mitch's claim, while in the very next paragraph, he presents proof that I didn't confirm Mitch's claim. This is point 63. I mean, this lawsuit is a dizzying read. He says, on December 23rd, Owens posted to X, Fort Huachuca confirmed. The body of the post claimed that she had proof that Snow was telling the truth about Harpole and contained a screenshot of what Owens claims to be the incident report from Snow's visit to Fort Huachuca. Did he read my post? My post right here says, find your favorite podcaster who joined the psychological operation to convince you that Mitch was lying about having been at Fort Huachuca. Remember, Mitch said he was at first taken outside by Captain Neff and questioned for a long time. I then recap what happened. I said I always believed Mitch's story of what happened on that morning because he supplied overwhelming evidence with metadata and timestamps. Now we have the incident report. What we cannot confirm as of yet is his memory of who he is convinced he saw coming out of that early morning meeting. We cannot confirm Matt Sarlson. We cannot confirm. What is this? What is this? What are we to make of all of this? What are we to make of this filing? What do you think is the purpose of this filing? I'll give you my thoughts, my questions rather. I can't know what is going on behind the scenes. I think the timing of this is strange. Like I said, the strategy here to never actually ask me to retract, to never present any evidence to the contrary. Hey, Candace, here's my receipt. I was getting a Starbucks at 9 a.m. I was therefore not at Fort Huachuca, or getting a Starbucks at 7:30 when meeting was happening. Could any of that? Never did this, okay? I can tell you, though, via my experience with defamation, is that there are a lot of lawsuits that are filed because people don't understand that what you put in a lawsuit filing is not always true, as I just demonstrated to you, right? You can write whatever you want, and people tend to take everything that's filed as a fact.
Well, yeah,
they just go,
we see it all
well,
the time.
like case in point, Brigitte said I was a dual citizen of the UK. Suddenly people start saying I'm not a dual citizen of the UK. It's not a fact, okay? So you can just put stuff in a lawsuit. And I have seen over and over again examples of people filing lawsuits as PR strategies. I lived that with the Kim Klacik lawsuit. I said, she was a former stripper, blah, blah, blah. She said, I am not. So she files this lawsuit and then says, this is proof that it's not true because I'm filing a lawsuit. And people then started, oh, well, it must be true. She's filing a lawsuit. So, and then what ended up happening was she took it to discovery and then she folded, right? She folded and wanted to sign an agreement and say, let's walk away and not talk about it. When we started presenting the evidence of the strippers that worked with her and knew her, it was like, okay, actually, this was just meant to be a PR thing, actually. And so I could keep claiming that this wasn't true. I've seen that happen before, okay? Is this that? Is this someone going, I just want to be able to get people to think that by filing this lawsuit means I'm telling the truth? I'm saying in this lawsuit that I wasn't at Fort Huachuca. Why else would I file a lawsuit? That doesn't mean now everybody can just let the Fort Huachuca story go because I said it. Like I said.
Yeah, and also because most people, they're so like brainwashed and can't think for themselves. Like the moment they see, oh, well, Brian filed a lawsuit, there must be something that she said that was wrong, or there must be this going on that's not right, you know? But in reality, and I mean, I could file a lawsuit against anyone right now. It doesn't mean it's going to go through the court. It could just get thrown out. But a lot of people, when they see the court documents and they see, oh, this could be something, they just completely fold.
That Candace said things that she didn't say. Like I asserted that Candace was a part of the early conspiracies when actually the exact opposite thing is true. I'm just going to put stuff in here and then I'm going to hand it to journalists, which is what they do. And journalists are going to publish this and say, proof that he wasn't at Fort Huachuca because why else would he file a lawsuit? But maybe there's an expectation that it's never going to make it through the court system, that you're never actually going to have to present any proof of anything. Because the judge is going to look at this and go, no, she asked you multiple times. I'm going to throw this away. Is that the expectation? Again, I'm asking questions here. This feels weird to me. The strategy here feels weird to me. You're dealing with a lawyer that has full access to my lawyers in the state of Tennessee, has been in communication with them for 2 years. He never raises a single issue until the end of April and then says, doesn't matter, we're filing a lawsuit. Is this a PR move? And if it is, how do we respond to it? Well, I obviously just received this lawsuit a couple of hours ago, and I am not therefore at liberty to assert what we will or will not do because I have to speak with my husband, and I haven't.
Well, I think you can't you like file like a counter defamation lawsuit or something? Because if she can prove that what he's saying on the lawsuit isn't true, and he's actually saying stuff about her that's not true in the lawsuit, she can reverse it. I don't know. I don't know nothing about defamation lawsuits.
At the time to, formally plead my case with him, so to speak. But what I will say is, how many opportunities are we going to have? Are we ever going to have another opportunity to force depositions? Are we ever going to have an opportunity to have the power of subpoena? He is making claims that he rendered first aid. This would give us the opportunity to then say, oh, Terrell Farnsworth actually has footage that the public has never seen from every angle. We can now take a look. We want to see this footage and subpoena this footage.
That
so
would
that
be
we can
insane.
see what happened on the ground if you are asserting that you did provide critical aid. Will we ever have an opportunity to do this ever again?
Imagine if she got to subpoena Discovery or whatever, and they got that camera footage. Could you imagine how that would break the internet? Obviously, maybe you couldn't release it, but if she could, that would be crazy. Like, that would be like, holy shit. We already seen the back camera footage that she kind of released, and, but if we seen every camera angle, that would be insane.
Can we look at this situation where you're saying, oh, this conspiracy, all these people are involved. You're bringing up Terrell Farnsworth, Mikey McCoy. You're bringing up these episodes where we discussed Erica. Can we now sit these people for a deposition? Can we now demand these text messages? He's saying there's no conspiracy here. Can we now say, okay, well, we'd like to discover that. We'd like to actually look at all of the evidence and be able to come up with an argument. And we're going to need access. We're going to need access to everybody's text messages if that's what you are asserting. If you are saying,
yeah, that's why I think it's such a stupid route to go, where Brian Harpool is trying to sue her. Like, you're opening up a can of worms that you didn't have to open up for yourself. Guys, make sure you like the stream, man. We're only at 15 likes. Everybody double tap your screen, like the stream, share the stream, hit the subscribe button. Help me get to 20K. We're so close to 11K. 15 people just need to like the stream, man. Or 15 people just need to hit the subscribe button. Show some love and support. Support the channel. Join the best community on YouTube. Join the motherfucking See Me Now family, man.
that I have defamed you and you are a part of the Turning Point USA brand. You're saying, you're mentioning Erica Kirk. Is this the only plausible path that we will have before us to get Erica Kirk to sit for a deposition? To answer basic questions that we've been asking for actually a very long time. If that's a claim that you are making regarding there being no conspiracy, is the power of subpoena actually going to be our only way? I'd like to hear your guys' positions on this, but I have never been doing this for fun. Charlie Kirk is dead. We have been told a lot of lies, a lot of inconsistent stories from the people that are around him. They are, I would say, especially in this last month, there seems to be sort of a ramped up effort to attack people who have been asking for the truth in a reasonable fashion over and over again, extending messages to Brian. Hey, come on the show if you'd like to. I actually didn't even ask him to come on the show. I said, you can just tell me what the truth is and I'll report on that. And they don't want to do that. You don't jump and skip and then file a lawsuit. That's not normal. That is abnormal. That's not the normal trend. People genuinely want to not have the wrong information out there, so they ask you to retract the statements that you are making. Something's not right here. I get a sense that this feels like, well, we tried to answer about Fort Huachuca. It was a very serious lawsuit, but defamation's hard. That was what Kim Klacik said. Defamation's hard. So that's why I have a lawsuit failed. But as you can see, I'm telling the truth because I filed the lawsuit. I think we have to think on this. I have to talk to my husband.
Imagine Candace going to her husband again, and it's like, honey, I got like my 100th lawsuit. I'm being sued again. Like, dude, how many times has she been sued now? Like, holy shit, you know? Make sure you guys double tap your screens, man. Hit the subscribe button. Join the See Me Now family. We are 33 likes away from 50. Let's go, man. Show some love.
I'm already here.
Stop streaming and get a job, loser. Get the fuck off my chat with your keyboard warrior fingers. Why don't you go touch some grass? Fucking. You guys say that, but yet you're talking behind the keyboard. Okay.
Debate. I can already.
It's never gonna work out. You see all the people who support me on my wall right here. You see the whole family. You see what it is. Yeah.
I already
You're
know.
just jealous because you'll never get to where I'm at, let alone where I'm going.
My husband's points that he's going to make. He is always very sensible about these things. He and I are wired differently. I mean, I even told you guys with the guy with the little tap who then was like, oh, I'm going to sue you for a little fender bender. I was like, I would have fought that to the end. And George's perspective is sometimes just take the easier route. But this is
Pay him off.
this is different. I think this is what we have been fighting for the last 7 months. George knew Charlie, and really respected him. They respected one another, and I have been thrust into the public and dealing with all of the smears, the attacks on me, my family, my employees. This might be the only window of opportunity that we have. And I know lawsuits are expensive. That's the whole reason why they try to discourage, and they want you to always take the path of least resistance. But you know what? My life just hasn't been that way anyway. I'm actually accustomed to it. So anyway, moving on. I had said at the top that I sort of slept on this thing. Like, yeah, first off, are you getting a sense that it was kind of like all plotted and planned for my birthday? Is it a weird thing? Like, so much was happening in the universe. It feels like everyone was like, that's our date, April 29th. Go for her. Go for her. First off, and I also want to let you guys know a little loophole. My priest does not watch this show. Okay. He is in London. So I might be able to get away with not chilling today a little bit. And I'm not chilling, actually, because it was actually unacceptable yesterday. And I'm going to show you more of it happened. But of course, the big news was Erica Kirk just coming out there and saying something that was so obviously untrue. It was just so obviously untrue. Baron Coleman recapped this perfectly on his show last night, and he was wearing the appropriate attire. Take a listen.
So we have a series of questions. Like, if Erica wants to remain at the helm, I think she has to be able to answer some questions. Number one, why did you claim Candace said that Erica killed Charlie? She's never said it that I've seen. Oh, but Baron, didn't you see the text message where she said, yeah, I saw a text message where she was joking around with a friend, and she even put a laughing face on it. I saw that.
Yeah, to me, that was distasteful. I was like, if she's gonna... Sorry, guys. If she's going to interview Erica, or she's meeting up with Erica and she's texting that, like, this is serious. Like, you've been serious about this. This is serious for a lot of people. Why would you even joke about that, though? Like, to me, when I seen that text, I was like, yeah, okay, you can say it's a joke. But to me, that's just distasteful, right? I mean, I just wouldn't have done that.
But no one assumed that's what you were talking about, Erica. Not a single person assumed that's what you were talking about. It sounded very clear to me. And I think it did to everyone else because everybody had the exact...
Yeah, but you guys have to understand that implying something versus saying it outright is completely different in the law's eyes.
Same reaction what you were trying to say in that moment today is that Candace goes on her podcast or goes to speeches and she says, I believe Erica did it. I'll be the first to say, I don't think Erica did it. I don't think Erica killed her husband. Nor do I know a single human being.
Not herself, no.
I've never talked to anyone who does. Talked to Candace. I've never heard her say that. Talked to a lot of these other podcasters. I've never heard anyone say that. No one who's ever been on this show has ever said that. I've never said that on this show. I don't know a single person who believes Erica killed Charlie. Not one. So what a weird thing to say. Why would you even bother saying that?
That's a good question, Baron. Why would she bother saying that? It was just like an attack from every angle yesterday. And thankfully, the internet just instantly rebounded and hit her in the face. The ball just hit her right back in the face, boomeranged, so to speak. Thankfully, everyone clocked her on that. And then you had Andrew with this ridiculous excuse. Has he yet released the full conversation? The full conversation, the context of that, mocking Ben Shapiro and Barry Weiss? This is when you said it was a joke in this private conversation about what you were going to say, leaning into what everyone was claiming. If you ask a single question, this is you think Erica killed her husband. Now, let me at first also state unequivocally that I do not believe that Erica Kirk murdered her husband. I've never made that claim in public. Sincerely, I've never made that claim. What I have said and what I stand by today is that her documented lies appear to me to be rising to a level of conspiracy and that she should be questioned. Okay. Her lack of interest in exploring possible other options, instantly forgiving him.
If people can't sit here and genuinely say that Erica Kirk has acted completely weird ever since this happened, you are just crazy. Like, it's pretty obvious that, you know, Erica Kirk has not been acting the way that a usual person when their husband and father of their two kids gets publicly assassinated. And the fact that people just sit here and can't even admit it is crazy.
Foreign influence. She doesn't care. Not only that, but like her team is attacking Joe Kent for asking that question, right? Her lying about Dr. Lee Trotter's words. That is significant. You are never going to remove that from the story. Colluding with Andrew Colvett on an absurd Man of Steel statement and then flatly denying to my face that she did that. Throwing Andrew Colvett and Dr. Lee Trotter under the bus, okay? That's not normal. You're never going to make that normal. Donors literally telling me that she is lying about the audio clip that she presented at AmFest.
Yeah. Everybody grieves differently. Okay, my husband and my wife of my 2 kids gets publicly assassinated, and I'm out the next week taking fucking control of TPUSA, and I am just worried about merch sales, and I even put a recreated tent outside of one of our events that people could take pictures in, and I come out like a WWE star to talk to people every single time. I mean, dude, she does nothing that a grieving person would do. Like, I just don't. I'm sorry. That's just my opinion.
The one that they now assert that they are never going to show us the video component regarding Charlie Kirk saying, Erica Kirk, I
like real ones. No, I feel like people who are legit and people who can think and aren't robots can see that there's something going on. Like, just because I say that doesn't mean that I'm saying she killed him, but it's pretty evident that she is acting different and weird. So I mean, it's crazy how if you even give her a little bit of criticism, people try and like send you backlash. It's like, get the fuck off my dick, bro. Like, seriously. Like, if you can't sit there and I have sat here and scoured everything for hours and I investigate this stuff all the time. Yeah, it's pretty odd how she's acting. And trust me, in the beginning when it first happened and she came out and did her little speech in his home office or whatever it was, I mean, dude, I was with her. I was like literally like, damn, bro, like I feel for her. But then you see how things start to progress and you see how she starts to act and things go. How could you not at least be like, whoa, okay, this is weird, you know?
point my wife, Erica, to become the CEO. Donor saying that actually never went down.
Appear weak. Are you stupid? This is why I do not block my channel then, Flowers. I do not care. Bye. Here. How about this? I'll help you go to the Shadow Realm. Yeah, get the fuck off my channel, bro. Like, you guys are crazy, dog. Like, don't appear weak in front of the kids. Bro, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? Like, some of you guys just are, this is why I say you got a super chat for me to read your chats, bro, because you guys are fucking crazy.
Never said that. That is, it is plainly unacceptable that we have not yet received a response. They have not yet released the video to answer the claims being made by the donors that were in attendance. Release the video that you claim to have of Charlie naming you CEO. Don't be shy now, okay? People won't believe it. You took us into the casket. You had no concerns about what people believed or didn't believe. Now all of a sudden everyone's shy.
Yeah, Jessica, 100%.
About a Charlie Kirk video. You're afraid people are going to think it's AI? Does that make sense to anybody? No, it doesn't. Of course it doesn't make any sense. That's why they're angry. Now on that note, though, okay? Andrew then shifting foot immediately.
It's so funny when some of you guys come on here and like, I'm going to leave your channel. Bye. Dude, get the fuck out of here then, bro. I don't care. The people who like me and support me and want to be a part of the family on here and want to be here every day while we stream and while we vibe and want to be immersed in the community will be. To the other people who think that I care about your little opinions when you want to sit here and say, bye, bro, or I'm going to block your channel. Like, go take your fucking emotions somewhere else. All right? Go, just take them somewhere else. Go be a keyboard warrior on someone else's channel. That's just how it is.
Shifting his feet immediately and pretending that little private correspondence where we mocked Barry Weiss's insinuations, that somehow accounted to me making a statement. No. Doesn't fly with me. Doesn't fly with me. Like I said, release the entire chat. You have my full permission, and it must be met with the sentencing. You guys agree? You agree. I must sentence him to more truth. Make an announcement. I must sentence Andrew and Erica to more truth. That is always the sentencing in this court. Now, what would be appropriate? What would be the appropriate level of truth to sentence you to? I got it, okay? Now, since what you are attempting to falsely insinuate is that I went into that conversation with Erica on December 15th already convinced of her guilt, which is patently untrue. I am now going to prove to audiences just how untrue that insinuation is, okay? With the private revelation that I made to Erica Kirk, information that I gave her that I would not have given to her had I immediately suspected her of her guilt. I would have given her no information regarding this. And it was a private revelation made about you, Andrew Colvett. I don't know if they told you this. This is a really bad way to find out, but since you tried to surprise me yesterday, bam, surprise, surprise, shouty, as they say. You see, Angie, what I told Erica Kirk was that part of the reason why I suspected Turning Point USA and why I thought she should be looking into other people is because someone at Turning Point USA got a message out to me. And that message was that I need to look further into Andrew Colvett. Wow, Turning Point USA people telling me to look further into Andrew Colvett. Was it Aubrey, as he tries to insinuate? No, It was Mikey McCoy. Mikey McCoy got a message out to me via a third-party person that I should look more into Andrew Colbert. Why would he do that, Andrew? Why would Mikey McCoy say that I should look more into? And I did look into, things got very shady. And that's when I started going, who the hell is Andrew Colbert, actually? He's obviously not a very good PR agent. Everybody can see that. He's a bit of a blubbering idiot. Who is Andrew Colbert? What are his ties? What are his family ties here? And the more I looked, I did start to see more things. So as you pretend like we're all just conspiracy theorists and nobody had any good information, as you fire a bunch of employees, like I said, you still cannot produce the information that you are claiming that Aubrey Leitch gave to me that I share on this platform. You were my number one source, Andrew, in the beginning. You just forgot the things that you told me. And that's when I started realizing things were weird. And then I got Mikey McCoy telling me to look more into you. After watching this show, I would...
That's crazy, because you know what that makes me think is that, like, in the beginning, he was given all this information that was wrong, or that was a kind of grapevine where he was told one thing, told a different. I feel like if Mikey McCoy said that, then it's like a scapegoat type tactic. Like, are they going to use him as a scapegoat on a bunch of shit?
say that I had a damn good reason to suspect Turning Point USA, that they were complicit in a cover-up of what happened. Anyway, good luck, Andrew. I hope you're having a good day. Have fun. Drop more messages. Explain that one to the press cycle. I think that's going to catch a couple of headlines. Why would he say that? Switching gears, because it does appear that they are really just throwing everything at me, particularly yesterday. I didn't even know which way to look. Happy birthday to me. Good thing I'm built for it. I'm just built differently. Erica didn't just name me and put a target on my back and lie about what I said, but she wasn't the only one, right? We also had congressmen in the House presenting a bipartisan resolution name-checking me. This is the headline in the Times of Israel. Headline, literally April 29th, I couldn't believe this. The U.S. House is considering a resolution condemning Hassan Piker. I've never spoken to that person in my entire life. And Candace Owens for...
Hassan's so stupid.
You got it, guys. Anti-Semitism. Who's bringing this forward? Okay, we've got Reps Mike Lauer and Josh Gottheimer. And it's a bipartisan bill to denounce anti-Semitic hate-filled rhetoric.
Guys, like the stream, man. We're at 23 likes. We need 27 more beautiful people to like the stream so we can be at 50 likes, man. Continue to like the stream. Continue to comment. Say what's up. Even if it's hate, I don't care. Help propel me into the algorithm, man. Show some love and support.
Though far-left Piker says that the move is making anti-Semitism worse. That is our subheading here. The resolution begins by condemning anti-Semitic hate-filled rhetoric and content that is disseminated to prominent online personalities. Blah, blah, blah. It tells us that whereas the rise of digital media platforms has enabled individuals with large audiences to disseminate disinformation, commentary, and political viewpoints to millions of viewers worldwide, such influence carries a heightened responsibility to avoid rhetoric that promotes hatred, violence, or discrimination against any group, including Jewish individuals and communities. All on the same day. Everyone is just suddenly signaling that speech is violence. Speech is now violence. They name check me and says, whereas Candace Owens has employed rhetoric.
I feel like we need to bring back the saying sticks and stones, right? Sticks and stones break my bones, but words will never hurt me. Like, oh my fucking God, dude. If I hear the word anti-Semitism one more time, I might just freak out.
It has included conspiracy theories accusing Israel of controlling the United States government. By the way, ironically, these two people, both of them who brought this forward, take more than $1 million from AIPAC. Government promoting false claims that Jews are taught by ancient religious texts to hate non-Jews and casting doubt on the truth of Holocaust survivors. I mean, this goes on and on. Of course, I can't defend myself. They can just put whatever they want. It's a resolution. She made the anti-Semitic claim that the United States is controlled by satanic pedophiles who work for Israel. That's not an anti-Semitic claim.
100%, okay? Stacey.
Satanic pedophiles working for Israel. We're talking about Epstein and everyone who has defended the Epstein class, okay? That is not explicitly Jewish. In fact, I have been name-checking Christian Zionist pastor after Christian Zionist pastor. So do not put this on, this means you're talking about all Jews, okay? When Donald Trump said, what, are we still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? That is when he lost me entirely. To my knowledge, President Trump is not Jewish. That pedophilia is satanic. That a satanic pedophile like Jeffrey Epstein worked for Israel. This is abundantly true. This is not a conspiracy. The fact that you are passing a resolution about me and not the people that protected Jeffrey Epstein says more about you. It then goes on and says that I repeated false claims that Jews are killing Christian children. Where did I say this? Where did I say that Jews are killing Christian children? Where did I say that? Nope, doesn't matter. You can just say whatever you want. It's Congress. This is like filing a lawsuit. You can just put things in there. I don't have to respond to it. This is going to be a part of record. This is going to be a part of U.S. history record as they bring this forth. And I have no opportunity to defend myself or to respond to any of these points. Beyond that, they then bring up never, ever forget that in July 2024, I did not mention Joseph Mengele. And then they erupted by saying that because I said there was bizarre propaganda that followed the Holocaust, which is true. It is objectively true. Okay. I'm going to show you that's objectively true. They insert this in here. Never forget that even, I guess never forget was appropriate to say there, that even the Auschwitz-Birkenau Museum, which has a podcast, asserted that there were lies told about Joseph Mengele. Not me asserting that. They did an official Holocaust memorial podcast where they discussed where some of the lies and exaggerations came from. It is not a threat to Jewish people to acknowledge that some people lie, okay? That some people misunderstand. I'm going to play it for you. This is the official Holocaust Memorial podcast discussing Joseph Mengele. Just so you can just read what they are writing and then hear, unless, I don't know, is Auschwitz Memorial podcast anti-Semitic? I don't know, but take a listen.
I want to note that many myths arose around Mengele in the camp, such as the alleged sewing together of twins, which did not happen, simply because Mengele saw himself as a scientist, a theoretician, a man conducting research. Sewing twins together, as Vera Alexander mentioned, wouldn't make sense from a medical point of view, because Mengele had sufficient medical knowledge, and the medical understanding of the time allowed him to know that it would lead nowhere. So where did this legend come from? It likely originated from the fact that Mengele performed transfusions on twins without prior cross-matching tests. This meant if the donor's blood didn't match the recipient's, it led to death. To perform a transfusion, people had to be connected, not sewn together, but connected with needles and tubes so that the blood could flow. Therefore, this legend about Mengele as someone who sewed children together probably came from this.
I want to be clear why this is important to you guys. And specifically, I want to speak to Jewish Americans because it is just so reminiscent to me of how they wanted to pass hate speech laws in the fog of George Floyd, and they were using race and black people to try to do this. This is a threat to all of us. Jewish Americans, pay attention because they are using you to push through tyranny. Okay, you are now the person they are using to push through tyranny. They think that you are too stupid to understand the difference between anti-Semitism, normal commentary, and debate. Also, by the way, there is an underlying.
Well, yeah, and I seen this video too the other day, and this guy made a good point. He was like, you know, we may be protesting in our streets, but our government has allowed Israel to bomb Gaza the way they did. Hundreds of thousands of people are dying. And what do we do as Americans? Nothing. So it shows we're complicit. So the next thing is digital ID, mass surveillance. We're already being surveilled a lot, but, you know, and tyranny, because we're just complicit. We are so wrapped up in our Netflix and chill and going to work and just living life as a sheep that the sheep don't even notice that we're being herded towards unexplainable bad path.
Assumption that you're too weak to deal with people who don't like you. Who cares if people don't like me because I'm black? I don't actually care. I don't care. If that is your underlying thought process, that every time you see a black person, you're like, I hate that N-word. I hate N-words all the time. How is that going to impact my day? Why do we care so much about what other people think about us? It's not a little ridiculous. There's just this underlying weakness that.
How does that make me a liberal for talking about Gaza? I don't support any innocent children and people, adults, anyone getting mass slaughtered anywhere. And that makes me a liberal for saying that. Like, that's crazy. That some people that come in this chat are just insane, you know? You know, like the Bolsheviks, how they murdered millions of Christians or whatever. It's like, how does that make me a liberal? How is me saying I don't support any sort of genocide of people killing innocent people at all make me a liberal? I don't understand. I'm not right. I'm not left. I'm independent. I'm a human being. I think for myself. We are all in this universe together. And the fact that people don't realize that is what makes the world the way it is, and it's sad.
Allows people who are
Appreciate you, Jessica.
Actually tyrannical, people who are actually doing despicable things, people who actually support the Epstein files and want to protect that network of human traffickers. Okay, they pretend they're the good guys. They find people who are weak, can't take being called names. You can do it. Black people, you can do it. Jews, you can do it. Spanish people, you can do it. Asian people, you can do it. You can handle being called a name as long as you get to remain free. That's more important. Yep. Okay? They are trying to flip that on its head so they can usher in tyranny. They want Europe. They want what's already happening in Florida. Police showing up on your door asking you if you sent a tweet. Did you criticize Candace Owens today? She's black. Did you know she's black? It's racist. I get called the N-word every second of every day. Go on X. I don't care. Doesn't impact my day. I don't know who these people are on the internet. I don't feel threatened by that. Okay? You have a right to think racist thoughts. Now, I happen to genuinely not be a racist. But if people were racist, I understand the importance of making sure that we don't pass speech laws. And that is what is coming next because they have been signaling it for a week straight, full fire. Not just Erica Kirk, also Caroline Levitt came out and now is trying to equate speech to violence. Take a listen.
This political violence stems from a systemic demonization of him and his supporters by commentators, yes, by elected members of the Democrat Party, and even some in the media. The deranged lies and smears against the president, his family, his supporters have led crazy people to believe crazy things. Everyone who has a voice and a platform across this country, whether you're on television, a podcast host, people listen. And when you have mentally disturbed individuals across the country who are listening to this crazed rhetoric about the president day after day after day, it inspires them to do crazy things.
Yeah, dude, you can say the same fucking thing about mainstream media, bro. Like, you go on mainstream media and they're all talking about bullshit, right? I mean, you could say the same thing about anything else, about the newspaper. You can say the same thing about music. You can anything. You can say the same thing about everything. You guys are just fucking coming up with the excuse because, sorry, but actors and all these celebrities no longer are the most famous people, okay? It's podcasters. It's influencers like I Show Speed, Aiden Ross. Why do you think Donald Trump went on Aiden Ross's stream? Why do you think Donald Trump went on Logan Paul's stream? Because they know that we are the new people who reach more masses. We have more influence because people watch us more. How do you not understand that? And the thing is just like the Stop Nick Shirley Act in California. He's exposing fraud because millions of people are tuning into alternative media because we don't fucking trust you no more. And that's just how it's going to be. And they're afraid because of all of us sitting here and actually researching things, exposing things, telling the truth. The Great Awakening is happening and they are scared. Like I said, the next 10 years, I pray for no violence, no violence. But it's going to be very interesting to see where our community goes, where our civilization goes in the next 10 years. Straight up.
Laura Loomer is his top advisor. Like, it's so crazy that they really come out here and they say this unflinchingly after the things that come out of Trump's Truth Social posts. Who is smearing and calling people names and dehumanizing people more, posting photos of me when I'm sick than Donald Trump? Does that now mean that if an act of violence happens, every theft that happens, I get to now say that this is Trump's fault? And again, like I said, it's being echoed everywhere. Melania Trump, she tweeted and said this about Jimmy Kimmel. Jimmy Kimmel's joke that happened before the shooting, that it was hateful and violent rhetoric intended to divide our country. Meanwhile, Caroline Levitt is talking left versus right. Is that not divisive? His monologue about my family is not comedy. His words are corrosive and deepens the political sickness within America. Does she know who she's married to? Maybe she doesn't. I don't know. People like Kimmel shouldn't have the opportunity to enter our homes each evening to spread hate. This is laying the ground, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, it sure is. And you're the one that chooses to tune into it. You're the one that chooses to tune in to whoever the fuck you're watching, okay? There's what's called a remote, okay? And there's buttons on it. And if you didn't know, a lot of the times if you have a Roku TV, you can even have a remote on your phone. Now, I must tell you, there's buttons to change the channel, to turn the TV off, or there's also what you have that God gave you called free will. Watch something else.
For speech laws, they shouldn't have the opportunity. She's pretending it's about Jimmy Kimmel. You start with Jimmy Kimmel. If we don't defend Jimmy Kimmel, which makes me physically sick, I don't want to defend Jimmy Kimmel, but I know how it goes. You start outward, you pretend it's legitimate. Trump survives, it's assassination. We have to quick in the chaos. We have to
22 more beautiful people just need to like the stream. We'll be at 50 likes, man. Show some love and support.
just get these speech laws passed. And then they come inward. And they come inward. And they come inward. And then it's like grandma tweeted that this person was ugly. And suddenly you've got people knocking on your door. We can't have that. You know who was very opposed to that?
Jessica.
Charlie Kirk was. I tweeted this, and I'm glad to see that it's trending. Here is his tweet about alleged hate speech, hateful rhetoric. Said another way. He wrote on May 2nd, 2024, hate speech does not exist legally in America. There's ugly speech, there's gross speech, there's evil speech, and all of it is protected by the First Amendment.
And this tweet right here is exactly why, allegedly, they took him out, man. Right here. Because you notice, ever since Charlie Kirk got assassinated, it has just been a censor party. just complete bashing each other, censoring each other. It's just insane.
Keep America free. That was his voice. I echo that sentiment. Charlie laughed at people when they made jokes of him, notoriously laughed. When South Park dedicated an entire episode referring to him as the master debater, he cared deeply about allowing people to critique him, allowing people to come and debate him, and winning those debates. And if he lost those debates, which I think never happened.
Yeah, I agree, Stacey.
He knew that
it's nice to go on the Roku app on my phone and just turn my kid's TV off when it's too late.
meant that he didn't have the stronger argument. So yeah, I agree. Keep
I agree,
America
Deem.
free. We'll be right back after a brief break. All right, you guys, have you ever tried keeping up with...
All right, we're going to get off this. We'll catch up a little bit on the news, and then I want to go over the David lawyer case thing. So, let's just check up on... We'll start with Al Jazeera. Please watch her last interview between Charlie Kirk and BS. Who's BS?
Well, the latest information we have is that a cargo ship is on fire off the coast of the UAE as the country warns of incoming attacks from Iran. This is from the British military's UK MTO, Maritime Trade Operation.
And by the way, I'm going on Al Jazeera because I trust Al Jazeera a lot, and let alone the fact that I've had a little mental struggle the past few days, so I haven't really been doing any research on any of this. The only thing I've been really digging into is the Celeste Rivas case, which I have a lot.
Center announcing the fire on the ship. Now, we don't know where the vessel is from, but that there's a fire in the vessel's engine room. This is off the coast of the UAE. Now,
yeah, I seen that. That was crazy.
Last 3 hours, we have had 4 missile alerts go off in Dubai and 3 missile alerts have been heard in Abu Dhabi. This as the UAE Ministry of Defense says that air defense systems are actively engaged with incoming Iranian missiles and drones. Meanwhile, there is a fire still working to be contained at Fujairah Petroleum Industries in the UAE Emirate of Fujairah. That is
I'm going to go to the bathroom. I'll let this play. I'll be right back.
Part of the UAE's vital energy infrastructure. So this is part of Tehran's playbook of hitting energy infrastructure in the Gulf when it comes under attack. And the Fujairah oil facilities are very important, an important part of the UAE's export infrastructure, because this is actually where there is an export terminal that bypasses the Strait of Hormuz. So a very strategic, important, key part of infrastructure for the UAE's energy systems and for its economy. So authorities say they are working to contain that blaze. Meanwhile, we have not yet received the all clear from the last missile attack, but again, the last missile alert, pardon. So again, 4 alerts over Dubai in the span of 3 hours and 3 heard in Abu Dhabi as we continue to watch and wait to see what else happens.
Right, and quite significant, as you say, that oil facility in Fujairah is on fire. What have we heard from the authorities there, and what type of response can we expect?
Well, unfortunately, but as we know, these attacks are not new for the UAE and for the Gulf more broadly. So emergency services at this point are certainly well-versed in how to respond to these types of attacks and these types of crises. But as the authorities said, they are working to contain the blaze. Meanwhile, the alerts are telling people to shelter in place, seek shelter wherever they are, and wait for the all clear, which people are still waiting for here. But as far as we are aware, air defenses are engaged, are continuing to intercept missiles that are coming in. As you said in your rundown, 3 have been intercepted and 1 has fallen into territorial waters, according to the UAE's Ministry of Defense. And we continue to wait for further updates.
Natasha, thank you very much for that. We'll come back to you, of course, as new developments come in from Dubai. Natasha Turak joining us there from the UAE. Meanwhile, Iran's military chief has released the following statement on X. Every inch of these waters lies within the range of our will, it says. U.S. destroyers with their radars switched off were planning to approach the Strait of Hormuz, but our response was fire. Cruise missiles and combat drones were launched. The security of this region is Iran's red line. Let's go to our correspondent in Tehran, Al-Migdad Al-Wuhaid. So we have that statement there from the IRGC, but have they said why they're targeting the UAE?
Well, we don't have...
what a dumb question. We all know why they're targeting the UAE, bro.
Any official confirmation that the missile attack on the UAE is coming from the Iranian's territory, and
guys, we
do know that
we just need 14 more beautiful people to subscribe so we can get to 11K subs, man. We are so close to 11K. Can we please get 14 more beautiful people to hit that sub button so we can get over 11K subs, man? Show some love and support to the channel. Join the family. Hit the like button. Appreciate y'all.
they a back and forth escalation since this morning in the Strait of Hormuz. The army chief Amir Hatimi and also the army statement from the military emphasizing the idea of controlling this strategic choke point and waterway, and also speaking about the United States linked destroyer that tried to came across this strategic waterway. That they spoke clearly that they warned this warship, and the initial warship ignored by the United States destroyers, and after that they issued a further warning, and when that vessels detected in the territory controlled by IRGC Navy and ignoring the warning shot and also the warning by the signals, the IRGC Navy said clearly that there is the combat drones and cruise missile and also warning shot toward the near of these vessels, and they stated clearly that any kind of escalation, or also if any kind of vessel doesn't coordinate with the IRGC Navy, they will gonna be defined as a violation of this ceasefire extended by the United States. And also that there is a statement came following that incidents in the strategic waterway from Amir Hatimi, Chief Army. He speak clearly that this is a red line for Iran's territory, and also he emphasized the idea of guarding this area and this waterway. And also we do know that Abbas Araghchi has engaged in a meeting with the parliament and also speak clearly about the new mechanism, framing the new mechanism for controlling and coordinating with Oman. So this all came follow the United States president when he announced yesterday that this morning they're gonna be opening the Strait of Hormuz for humanitarian issues, and this came as a response from the IRGC Navy and the army here from Tehran.
All right. Stay with us, Al-Migdad. As you mentioned, these developments in the UAE that we talked about earlier come as the standoff between the U.S. and Iran over the Strait of Hormuz shows no signs of easing. Iran has unveiled a map claiming control over a large portion of the route. That's after President Trump announced an operation to guide stranded vessels in the Gulf through the strait. This is how the Strait of Hormuz looks at the moment. We have added the boundaries issued by Iran's Revolutionary Guard into the map. They assert Iranian control over a significant section of the strait. Only 9 ships have passed through the strait since President Trump announced Project Freedom. U.S. Central Command said it would support the effort. Aircraft, warships, and 15,000 military personnel. Before the war, more than 100 ships would travel through the waterway every day. Let's go to our Chief U.S. Correspondent Alan Fisher for more on this. So tell us about what CENTCOM has been saying about the current activity in the Strait of Hormuz and what the Trump administration's intentions are.
Well, let me start by saying we have asked the White House about the attacks in the United Arab Emirates. We haven't received any word back, but it's clear they'll have been informed, not least by watching television, but they would have been informed by their contacts in the region about what exactly has happened. So no official response to that. CENTCOM are saying that at least 2 US flagged vessels have made its way through the Strait of Hormuz in the last few hours, accompanied by the US military. This is the first steps in what is known as Project Freedom. Donald Trump announced that over the weekend. The idea is that they will guide ships through the Strait of Hormuz, particularly aimed at the 2,000 ships that are still stuck there, have been since the start of the war. 20,000 seamen. They've been living in very difficult conditions since the war extended, unsanitary in some cases as well. The intention is to build up international goodwill. Donald Trump says this is a humanitarian effort. It falls short of a full military escort for ships. Essentially what they're doing is guiding vessels, and they're saying this is the area where you can go. There are no mines here, and they will be monitored during that journey by, obviously, United States Air Force, the Navy, all the facilities they've got in the area, including drones as well, with Donald Trump warning that if there's any interference, it will be met they will react strongly, is actually his words on that. So this is seen as a move by Donald Trump to reopen the Strait of Hormuz, take one card away from the Iranians. He's already already put Operation Economic Fury in place, which is blockading the Iranian ports. He thinks that's strangling the Iranian economy such as it is at the moment by not being able to get essentially foreign currency into the country to help fund the continuation of the war. He thinks this is a very strategic move, but also there is the issue that people believe that this, announced when it was a signal to the markets in the attempt to drive down the oil price, given the economic consequences of the war in the United States.
And so where does this leave all the diplomacy, Alan?
Lots of discussions ongoing at the moment. Donald Trump, of course, said over the week.
Guys, 20 more people just need to hit the sub button, man. Show some love and support. Hit the subscribe button. Or 20 more people just need to double tap their screens. We'll be at 50 likes. How many subs are we at, man? Are we at 11K yet? We're not even at 11K yet, man. 14 more beautiful people just need to hit subscribe, man, so we can be at 11K. Show some love, bro.
Weekend that he'd seen the latest Iranian proposal, but he wasn't minded to accept it. He said they have not yet paid a hard enough price, a tough enough price. He believes that the Economic Act is certainly pushing forward. He's been given military options that he can examine. There are messages going back and forward between the United States side and the Iranians, often through the Pakistanis. Suggestions being made that they hope at some point they can come up with a core agreement, but there's nothing forward-facing, public-facing that we're seeing that suggests that they're making any level of breakthrough just now. Donald Trump has said, of course, when people say there doesn't seem to be anything going on, you don't know that. He's involved in all of these discussions and certainly in contact with his mediators. But we're in the position at the moment where tensions are rising because of this operation ongoing in the Strait of Hormuz. But there's no peace and there's no war. And clearly, for Donald Trump and for many here in the administration, that's not a situation that can go on indefinitely.
Alan Fisher, our chief U.S. correspondent at the White House, thank you. Let's go back to Al-Migdad, our correspondent in Tehran now. How does Iran view diplomatic efforts right now, given these growing hostilities in the Strait of Hormuz?
Well, actually, after this escalatory measures on the Strait of Hormuz, it's very hard to say about the diplomacy, because we know that at the same time there is a back and forth escalation in the Strait of Hormuz, and at the same time the Iranians speak about received a response from the United States president, and right now they are reviewing that response. And if we step back, we can say that that 14-point plan is strictly speaking about ending the war, about ending the blockade over the Strait of Hormuz, about postponing the most critical issues and complex issues like nuclear file and
what kind of fucking ladder is that, bro?
the highly enriched uranium stockpile for further negotiations, and within 13 days speak about how to reach an agreement and implement that agreement within that 13 days. But now it's very hard to say after this escalatory measure on the Strait of Hormuz. At the same time, we are seeing that Pakistan engaging to ease the gap between the two parties when it comes to the transfer of family member that have been.
I'm sorry, I can't keep listening to this guy fucking talk. Shut up, bro. Get a better correspondent. All right, we're gonna go over to the David case. Gideon, I'm not gonna lie. Gideon interviewed a lawyer that he always talks to. I mean, Aiden Ross has talked to him. They're associated, but he interviewed this lawyer. They're talking about the David case. This lawyer kind of said some outlandish things, like he was a victim of success. Get the fuck out of here with that, bro. There is no such thing as a victim of success. If anything, Charlie Kirk was a victim of success. David, though, he's about to be a victim of somebody in that penitentiary, bro. But allegedly, right? But anyway, he interviewed this lawyer, and I didn't watch the whole thing. I just watched some clips, so I figured we go over it together and watch it together and see what he has to say. But yeah, this is just I also am doing a video. I got a lot of stuff that I've found with the Celeste Rivas case, and I've also gotten in contact with some people from Lake Elsinore on Facebook, and I'm trying to get some what's it called? My mind just went blank. I'm trying to get some information from them and some thoughts from them. So there's gonna be a very interesting video I'm gonna release, so make sure you guys go hype it up and show some support. I will obviously let you know when it's released, so make sure you guys have your notification bell hit. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. and show some love and support. Let's see how many subs we're at yet. Did anyone sub yet? I mean, come on, bro. Show some love, man. 10,986. Why am I stuck, bro? I went from gaining 60 to 100 subs a day to now I ain't gaining shit. Come on, y'all. Show some love.
Sexual relationship started when she was 13.
Those are just allegations. This girl came after him to attack him. So from what I'm seeing, it looks like he is a victim of success.
What about the
Get
explicit
outta here,
photos?
bro.
So I want to see how explicit are those photos. Are they really, you know, my client?
How is her body found in his car?
You can give somebody else access to the car.
What about him ordering
He's smiling. He knows he's rage baiting, bro. He knows he's on some bullshit.
Uber to his house, her being there?
Is that illegal to order an Uber?
For
I don't see that. I don't see that in the criminal code anywhere. No matter where I'm at with my clients' cases, even if you're found guilty, there's still ways out of it.
Owen.
And why am I the best lawyer?
I mean, you gave me probation on my criminal case.
All right. And what were you charged with?
Aggravated assault with deadly weapon.
And how much prison time are you looking at?
20 years.
Okay. And did this case go to trial?
Yes, it did.
And during that trial, did the prosecutor show a video of you shooting somebody 3 times?
Yep, it did. Shot him 2 times in the stomach, 1 in the arm.
The prosecutor had a video of this man shooting somebody 3 times. Not eyewitness testimony. They had a video of him doing this. Now listen to the rest.
And were you found guilty on this case?
Yes.
All right. And now during the punishment phase of your case, did I remain fighting for you?
Yes, you did.
All right. And while I was fighting for you, how much time was the prosecutor asking this jury to give you?
20.
All right.
20 years.
20 years in prison, right?
Yep.
And after my arguments, what was the result of me convincing that jury to give you as a punishment?
Probation.
All right. And are you happy with the results?
Yeah.
All right. And just
No
to
shit, he's happy.
put it together, you got probation for shooting somebody 3 times on camera, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. And is there anything else you want to add?
I mean,
The prosecutors wanted to give him 20 years. Jay Oma convinced the jury to only give him probation. Going from 20 years to probation on camera. Y'all know how crazy that is? And the crazy thing about it was not self-defense. Nope, it was not. They had an argument, but it was not self-defense.
Dude, I bet you that guy was happy as fuck, bro.
I asked. It was not. It was not. Because if it was self-defense, he would have been found guilty. I know everybody in the chat saying that's weird. Like, y'all, I had your guys' same opinion. I was like, bro, defense lawyers are the biggest scumbags on the earth and stuff. But when I had 6 months over my head, I realized, like, you hate lawyers until you need one. I pray that none of y'all are in a situation to where
It's kind of like cops. People are like, oh, cops are stupid, or I hate cops until they need one. And same thing with defense lawyers. But people have to understand that with defense lawyers, that's what they specialize in. And how can I, you know, sometimes in court, it's not about the truth. It's what about you. It's what you can portray that seems like the truth, right? And that's what criminal defense lawyers specialize in.
you ever need a defense lawyer. But if you do find yourself in a position where you need a defense lawyer, you're going to try to get the best one you can ever get to fight for you.
Like
and
Drew
just so you
Finley.
guys don't think I'm lying.
Who's your favorite lawyer?
Jay Oma.
And why am I a favorite lawyer?
You got my case on the path to getting dismissed.
All right, and what were you charged with?
I was charged with allegedly videotaping a grand jury proceeding and posting it on my YouTube channel, and the video getting 4 million views, allegedly.
And it was contempt, right?
And I got contempt of court.
Yeah. And so how much jail time are you looking at?
I was looking at up to 6 months.
Okay, and are you happy with the results?
Very.
This man's is wearing the same do-rag.
Is there anything else you want to add?
Get Jay Oma.
All right.
And like, that's my paperwork. I don't have to say allegedly anymore. I did record it. I don't have to say allegedly. I got criminal defense lawyer Jay Oma. Jay Oma, welcome to the show.
What's up? What's up, y'all? What's going on?
How long have you been a criminal defense lawyer?
Probably about 8 years, 7 years right now.
And have you been following the David case?
A little bit. I actually saw a little bit of it last night. There's more evidence that I believe that they're finding on his phone. It's one of those investigations that keep going and you let it happen. right? And then that's when I step in and start doing my work.
He has the criminal defense lawyer, Blair, but she represented Harvey Weinstein during his case and everything. My question is, with the evidence that the prosecutors have against him, where they have
Welcome in, Brody. Much
sexual
love to you, bro.
messages
I hope
and
you're doing
sexual
good.
photos
Good to see you too.
between the two, which would obviously be CSAM. They also have against him being the last
After this video, I'm gonna be going to the gym, so let's react to it. Let's get to it, man.
person to be in contact because she was Ubered from her home over to him, and then after that she was not seen alive. They also see in his transactions where he bought 2 chainsaws, an incinerator, bought shovels, and he also bought a blue inflatable pool where the fragment from the inflatable pool that he purchased also matches on her body. They also have other CSAM. They said they found a significant amount of CSAM on his phone. All of these things stacking up against David. How do you possibly think that the defense is going to plead his innocence?
Well, and there's other girls that are
Not
stepping
murdering her?
forward
Do you
too.
think they're going to concede and say, hey, he did have a sexual relationship with her? What do you think they're going to concede on, or do you think they're going to try to fight everything full force?
I'll fight everything. I'm going to be one of those attorneys where I don't care what allegations that they have against my client. I'm always going to fight it, no matter how bad shit gets, you know?
So
Like,
you wouldn't even concede with because they have him on child abuse, like having a sexual relationship with a minor. So you wouldn't even concede that point if you were him.
You guys don't even understand the stuff that I have that I'm gonna be releasing on this video, bro. You say his family isn't even standing with him. Yeah, bro, I know, but you guys have to understand. Let me show you. I have so many pictures right now and stuff that you guys would be like, holy shit. So I will do this one. Let's see here. Hold on. I want to show you guys a picture quick. Dude, I've been doing so much research. And I think David sent, allegedly, I think David sent somebody. I think David sent somebody to message her family too. And try and throw them off and make them think that she was being trafficked or something. Because I have so much stuff. Hold on, I will. Hold on, let me turn this off quick. I'll show you guys. I'll give a little bit of a glimpse into what I'm going to be showing on my stuff, right? So let's do this. I mean, and he was even freaking like, I don't know, trolling about it. Like, that's the crazy thing, is that he was trolling. So let me bring up. All right, here it is. So at one of David's shows, come on, can I zoom in or what? All right, so at one of David's shows, right? His brother's here. Celeste is right here next to his brother and his sister. So in between Celeste's brother and sister, in between David's brother and sister is Celeste right here, and his mom is in the front row. So they're all sitting front row at the Fonda Theater at one of his shows. So his family obviously knew him. He took him to London. He took Celeste to London, Texas, and Las Vegas. And in Texas, she met his family. So this is her with his family right here, right? I also have a picture of somebody going and commenting under his mom, one of Celeste's mom's posts, right? So right here is a picture of, this is Celeste's mom's Facebook, and she said, first God my daughter appears soon, and may God protect her and slave my anguish I have for my daughter. Someone commented under his name, Carrillo Alex, and he's friends with all the family members. So it's either he just added them all to try and get a hold of them, or whatever. But anyway, so he says basically that why aren't you answering my messages, right? So he comments under her post, why aren't you answering my messages? He comments this. Oh yeah, I gotta send the translation. So he ends up commenting, why aren't you answering my messages or whatever. So then he posts the messages he sent her, and the messages he sent her was this. This is the message thread, and then this is the translation right here. Come on, pull up. So it says, "Good evening, Miss Mercedes. I told you I saw a few hours ago she arrived at Culiacan Sinaloa International Airport coming from McAllen Palomar Airport. A plane with a group of young people I saw at 12:33 a.m. The young girls who are brought for the white dealers, so like sex trafficking or ST or whatever. I saw a young woman comes within the group, Celeste Rivas. She claims to be his daughter or her daughter." It's a little bit messed up when it comes to translation and stuff like that. But these are the messages he apparently sent Celeste Rivas's mother, trying to claim that she was being SA'd or sex trafficked or whatever. And my thing is this: was he sent there to divert her? Why would, like, it's obvious she wasn't Mexico. So why would this guy go out of his way to add his whole family, message her this, and yeah. And he even went as far to, I think it's still his TikTok profile picture, to be honest with you. But this was David's TikTok profile picture. And it said that Celeste loved Hello Kitty. So he would have a Hello Kitty phone case. He would have a Hello Kitty nails. He would buy Hello Kitty dolls. And he literally put his, right here. This is his TikTok profile picture. Hello Kitty in the same outfit he wore on her romantic homicide, with a bloody shirt and all that. So you're telling me that, like, this is just insane. Like, he is a psychopath. This is currently his profile picture on TikTok. I mean, insinuating that he killed another Hello Kitty, or he killed her, right? And let's see. There's also this. So this is the only other thing that I'm going to tell you guys or whatnot. This is the only other thing I'm going to tell you guys, because I don't want to give away my whole video's premise here. But there is a girl who is accusing David of having two Celestes. There's an older Celeste, right? So it says, "So I have a friend who is friends with David, and I was around David because of him. Heads up, this is a long read. My friend and I found out about the car September 8th. And my friend contacted David after he had just responded with, 'I can't say anything about that because I don't know what's going on. My car was stolen and I'm talking to the police,' unquote. That was the last thing David said. As things started to come out online and the ID of the victim, we realized that the body was found in the car was his girlfriend's, or the body that was found in the car was his girlfriend Celeste, the 19-year-old we met a few times after his shows. Kickbacks, parties are also what they called. One thing I can talk about is I am 100% sure there is two Celestes, because I've met them both and I've spoken to them both. One thing about that, looking back, that I find weird is that when they were both in the same room, the older one calls herself Cece. If one was there and the other wasn't, then she would call herself Celeste, basically separating the two. The older one's Cece, the younger one's Celeste, whatever. Now, I wasn't too close to David, but my friend was. He was always invited to the events, or quote-unquote kickbacks, at his place for his shows. At hotels, he would bring me to them. He was always surrounded by other streamers and TikTokers. Mark's fat ass, I don't know who Mark is, but Mark's fat ass and this guy, Ben. Now, when I would stream with other people at his place, he would pull Celeste, the minor, to the side and tell her he was going to be streaming and she can watch him in the room, so the girl would have to go hide out. I specifically remember this because he happened to say this during a tattoo session. This happened during a tattoo party he threw, and there was a female artist, Jay, who came from the IE San Bernardino, I believe, and she actually refused to tattoo the minor Celeste because she needed an actual copy of her consent forms. And the minor Celeste was asking for a butterfly behind her neck, just like the older Celeste, Cece. And I remember the artist kept saying no, and David started to get annoyed, and he told the artist that she lost out on a clientele, and he was going to bring her, and said she was fine and just has a policy like an NDA, and she follows his NDA. He tried to tell the artist that Celeste already had tattoos and that she shouldn't worry about it because she is 19. She told David, dude, I'm not going to lie. She looks 13. I need an ID. I respect your NDA. Please respect my policy. He just said, okay, and pulled Celeste to the side and told her he was going to call his other artist to come later and that he was going to stream and she should go on the side of the room. She can come out when he is done, and kissed her on the forehead and came back to Jay and apologized to her, giving her a side hug. By the way, I was getting tattooed cherry blossoms on the side of my wrist. It's posted on her Instagram with purple nails. And my friend didn't get anything that day, but he did get a Princess Mononoke tattoo on his back by her last tattoo. The last tattoo event David did in May of last year, when this back and forth was happening, and when he left, I asked her if this was going to be the first time she had tattooed him, and she said no, and that was her second time. This fat guy named Mark told her Celeste was a minor, but she wasn't sure if it was true or not. But if so, Jay wanted nothing to do with it and stuff like that. She didn't understand why the last party she came to, that CC girl was getting called a different name. She couldn't remember what, but it wasn't Celeste. I tried reaching out to the artist Jay on Instagram to see what happened after the party. I seen her where my friend was getting tattooed around May of 2024. It was before David's party. My house is not a home tour party, but no reply. I don't know what the fuck. She typed all weird, but anyway. I tried again recently, but noticed she hasn't been posting since November of last year, which is scary. I believe the last time David contacted my friend was when he played a show in San Diego August 5th. I'm also hearing that the older Celeste is claiming she never knew or met the younger Celeste, and that's a damn lie, because this is Celeste in the back, and that's her looking annoyed and miserable as usual. When I spoke to her, she always seemed bothered when David's girlfriend was around, and she wasn't really getting any attention. So the younger Celeste was getting annoyed with the other ones coming around or whatever. That's what she's saying. So basically, I don't know why it says, I don't know why, but it always seemed like a love triangle, I thought. Also, I find it weird that there's no information on David's whereabouts now, and he blocked my friend because he sent him a text. It was a green bubble. He does have family in Texas, and I know he is from New York City, so maybe he's trying to hide out there. But let's hope Celeste gets justice for the older Celeste. The older Celeste needs to be questioned, because it's crazy odd that she was seen wearing the dead girl's clothes. She always gave me bad vibes. So she's saying that the older Celeste, quote, Cece, was wearing the younger Celeste's old clothes after she died. Like, that is just insane. So basically, that's what I have. I have a lot of other stuff that I'm going to be coming out with as well. It is what it is. I mean, I also have, I can show you, I mean, this is on my Facebook. You guys should go on every single social media app. You guys should go follow me. But this is what's on my Facebook. See me now on Facebook. Go follow me. Go say what's up. I'm trying to get my other socials up. But here is... we'll play this one. Hey, what's up, guys? I was going over the David court case on stream today, and I found something very... Oh, wait, no, this isn't the one, is it? You know, it's nice watching daily...
However,
I'm just vibing. Where's it at? Oh, right here. Yeah, this was the one. Sorry, guys. But yeah, go follow
Hey,
me.
what's up, guys? I was going over the
Go follow me Facebook, Twitter, everywhere
David
else.
court case on stream today, and I found something very interesting within the preliminary documents that the prosecution are putting out. And basically it says the victim spent a significant amount of time with the defendant, including summer weekends at his home in the Hollywood Hills and traveling with him to Las Vegas, London, and to Texas to meet his family. Yeah, that's kind of crazy. But let's let him hear him talk about it over here. Hey, what's up?
I used to do a lot of different projects with different producers, and I went through maybe 5 or 6 different versions of this album. But the most recent version, the one that I'm very happy with, the one that we're going to put out, I made in a total of 4 weeks. So I went to London for 2 weeks with 3 of my friends, and we just made a song every day for 2 weeks in London. I love London because of like the gloomy aesthetic and the gloomy just like vibe and environment that London has. Like there's barely any sun there, and I love that because the music I make is really sad. And then so 2 weeks I made a song every day, came out with half the album, and then I went back to Houston for another 2 weeks, and I made the rest of the project on my phone just off of beats that people sent me and with some things that I make. And yeah, I just spent 2 weeks in a different area trying to get myself in a different mindset, and then I came back to Houston, put myself in the same mindset again, and made everything by myself. So I wanted to see what I looked like, or how I worked with different people and how I worked with myself, you know?
So it's obvious that the court documents were referring to those trips that he was explaining right there. But yeah, so that's basically, go follow me on, see me now on Facebook, Twitter, Kick, everything. But yeah, I mean, the fact that this guy's over here saying David was a victim of success is just crazy. I know he's trying to rage bait, but still. But yeah, I mean, I got a good video coming out, bro. Like I got so much information. I've been scouring the internet for days, dude, trying to figure out everything. I have the private investigator that was hired. I have him clipped talking about how there was family members of Celeste that went to David's house, like cousins and stuff. It's just crazy.
His lawyer.
And not only that, but he alleges they were taking money from him. So this is the private investigator saying this.
Oh, F no. I would not concede to that. I'm fighting everything.
Okay, how would you get him off of that?
Well, number one, have him plead not guilty on this case. Demand any and all evidence that the prosecutors might have against them. The cops did their investigation. All it takes is for me to find out, how did the cops get to that? What is the process that they got to it? And if they got to it illegally, that's when I can start doing my work, and I can start attacking everything that the cops got on them. It's just one of those things where you just got to keep fighting no matter where it's at.
So you would try to discredit and get some of this evidence thrown out. What is the first bit of evidence out of all the things I said that the prosecutor has on him? Because it doesn't look like they're waiving his right to a speedy trial. It sounded like his lawyer's like, let's take it to trial. What is the first bit of evidence?
Yeah, they said that up until the prosecution came out and said, okay, let's take it to trial. Here's everything we have. Then I went over the prosecution documents, and they're like, yeah, let's wait. Because they got to figure it out, man. Like, if they can prove what they said they can prove in those prosecution documents I read the other day, then yeah.
Wanting to attack
any relationship that he had that it's not sexual. Allegedly, they're saying that it's sexual, right? I'm gonna attack that, and then I'm gonna attack the motive that the prosecutors are trying to allege that he had.
So let me let you know about the motive. So the motive is they said that they have the text messages between where it seems that Celeste was jealous of David being in relationships with other women.
And I think that refers back to what I just read. Like, she was jealous. Maybe she was jealous of that other Celeste, the CC girl. And she didn't want her to be involved anymore. Because in that girl alleges that Celeste was getting jealous of the attention that he was giving the other girl because she would get less attention, right?
And they said that Celeste texted him that she was going to destroy his career. And coincidentally, when she texted him that, it was about 2 or 3 days before his album was supposed to be released, where they're saying that the motive was for financial gain to keep his career intact.
I mean, that sounds like a motive, but that's just the state's motive or the prosecutor's motive. Whatever motive they have, I'm gonna attack that, because what I'm gonna be looking at is the girl probably has motive to make shit up. The girl probably has motive to utilize her position in his life to capitalize on somebody who's up and coming. We see that in...
He sounds so stupid, dude. He unalived her. What do you mean she has motive? Like, what?
And Shannon Sharp, who was a victim. What was that girl that took a lot of money from him? You know, when people become a public figure, just like you and I, athletes,
a minor.
Singers, even actors, that it opens up an opportunity for them to like have a gun to their head, to say, get me this Rolls Royce, get me this Rolex. If you don't get it to me, there's gonna be consequences. And you know what those consequences are gonna be. And so anybody can be put in that position, even you. And it's unfortunate that I believe David has to go through this at this point in his career, because he's up and coming. I do like some of his songs, but it's an opportunity. And when people do have an opportunity, they often get taken advantage of. So my job as a criminal defense attorney is to point that out, right? That, you know, my client's the victim.
So you think his defense is going to try to paint the picture of David being the victim of the situation, with him having the fame and status? You think that's the route, or that's the route you would take if he was your client?
I have to speak to him. So whenever I do my consultations with my clients, my strategies change based on that, and it's based on reality as well. So right now, me and you, we don't know, because we haven't spoken to David. If I spoke to David, you know, and he contacted me, then maybe it'll be a different story, right? From what I'm seeing, it looks like he is a victim of success. People came after him, and possibly, quite possibly, this girl came after him to attack him. So I don't know what's going on with the, you know, what happens in real life. All I can see is the allegations, just like how you can see the allegations, and they sound bad. And a lot of my clients' cases, the allegations are very, very bad. And you know the type of cases I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, I mean, I just showed my chat that you got a dude who shot somebody.
Dude, every time his dono thing comes up, I keep thinking I'm getting a dono.
3 times on camera. They caught him on camera, and you didn't even use self-defense, did you?
You have to have been there. I post my trials, like on my feed, on my story.
You got
like,
someone that shot somebody 3 times off with just probation when the state was trying to give him 20 years.
And I didn't add in my video that he's going to get out on probation in 5 years. 5 years for shooting somebody on camera. And he even looked at the camera like the camera's right here. He went ahead and looked right at the camera.
After he shot the dude.
Yeah. And I got that shit to be probation. He'll be out. He'll be done with probation in 5 years when he contacts me. No matter where I'm at with my clients' cases, even if you're found guilty, there's still ways out of it. And so I'm always going to fight no matter how bad shit gets. And right now, in regards to David, shit's looking bad. Okay. And it's always going to look bad in the beginning. But I'm always going to be able to try to fight and show like the truth, which is he's a victim here.
Okay, you're going to try to paint it as him being a victim. Let's go with that. How are you going to convince a jury that a man who is sending explicit photos of himself and receiving explicit photos, because Celeste isn't the only minor. He was also talking to other minors who have started to come forward. So How are you going to spin this as him being the victim of all these minors coming to him and him not wanting any part of this?
Well, I'm not going to spin anything. What I'm going to do is show the truth, okay? And that truth is that no matter what age anybody is susceptible, or anybody can be an aggressor, right? You can be 9 years old. And if you find out there's a lick out there that you can take advantage of and you can get free stuff out of him and you can threaten him, then you do it. And it's a normal thing that humans do. Whenever they see an opportunity, they can see it. And there is an opportunity when it comes to David. Shit, I don't even know David personally. And I can see David, you know, as a walking lick right now. He has YouTube videos. He has music. He obviously has money. Anybody in that position would say, you know what? Let's do something to this guy. Let's make some shit up so we can get what we want.
What about him ordering the Uber to his house, her being there, all of that? What's the play there?
Is that illegal to order an Uber for somebody? I don't see that. It's illegal to like order an Uber for a child? I don't see that in the criminal code anywhere. I don't see that. I've never seen that was illegal for anybody to do that. Like, so I don't see how that can be criminal in itself. I order Ubers for my cousins to go get picked up, you know, to be dropped off. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? I have family members. Like, just because he did that does not necessarily mean.
Okay, so she threatened him.
Yeah, they're obfuscating, bro. Like, Gideon, bro, you need to ask better questions. Like, instead of saying, well, what about ordering the Uber? Maybe he should have said, well, what about the Uber confirming that he picked her up, dropped her off at this time. She was last seen on a Ring camera, and that's it. Like, that would be the better question. Like, God, sometimes I wish the roles were reversed and I had all the followers and I got these interviews, because I would ask better questions. Gideon, get it together.
He orders the Uber, and now after that Uber, she's never seen again. And she's found in his Tesla. So what is the play? So what happened?
Hey, what state was this in?
California.
In LA?
Yeah.
You know LA is a dangerous place? It is dangerous. It is. Look, ladies and gentlemen, Los Angeles is a dangerous place. There's gangs everywhere. There's people to extort you everywhere. Her body or whatever has happened to her could have been done by somebody else other than David himself. It's just that because of the relationship, the friendship that they have, everybody's honing in on it. It's unfortunate for David. Anything could have happened to her. There are random people
and
who
text
get,
messages,
pulled up on any day in LA, even if you're a girl.
So what about the blue? So the prosecutors were saying that so there wasn't going to be a mess. David put her body in a blue inflatable pool to keep all the blood in there. And the fragments from the blue inflatable pool that David bought match the fragments found on her body.
That could be anybody. Because think about it, not only is David a potential victim for any of the young girls.
I appreciate you, Jessica. Yeah, we're coming up, man. We're running it up. We're gonna, dude. I'm telling you, we're going to good places. We're building such an organic following, and we're building a good family on here. We're gonna get there.
But he could be a potential victim for anybody.
By the end of this year, mark my words, I'm gonna be in a way bigger spot.
Ancillary to that, right? So, say for example, he disrespected an up and coming rapper. They're gonna want to put this murder on him,
Jessica. Much
right?
love
So
to
let
you.
the prosecutors attack him instead of them attacking the person. Because if you think about it, that is actually a good strategy. If I want to get after David because he disrespected me because he didn't buy me my soda, or he didn't get me a cheeseburger that I asked for, or he just looked at me wrong, or he said my song sucks because I sang for him, I'm gonna say, all right, I'm gonna get this dude. I'm gonna put his DNA. I'm gonna set some shit up. I'm gonna get that dead body and I'm playing on him. So then, therefore, they can put all the state's power, all the prosecutor's power into trying to put him away. It's like you're getting somebody else to do your dirty work for you, and that's a good possibility that could have happened to David. So that's what I think that could be a possibility for David as well. You know what I mean? Like, no,
I don't know what you mean. No, like so he orders the Uber and then she
allegedly
it's from his account.
Allegedly, it's from his account. I can get your account. Give me your phone. I can do something to it. You know what I mean? Just because it's on your phone doesn't mean you're the one who did it.
Okay. The Uber is sent. It picks her up. It takes her over there. And then also, so how did they get access to his car? How is her body found in his car? And then they also have video evidence of him being the last person to leave the car before it was impounded. So he didn't smell her in there?
You can get somebody else access to the car. Just because it's your car doesn't mean like you're the only.
Dude, and there's a video of him on stream apologizing for the smell in his house, and he blamed it on him taking a shit in the bathroom. He was on stream. He's like, "Oh, I'm sorry about the smell in my bathroom. You know, I just took a shit." And it's like, well, God, it's crazy to watch that too, because it's like, God, her body must have been close to them. You know, he must have hid that body somewhere where at least they can smell it. You know, and that's just, you know, allegedly, but it's sad, man. It's crazy to think about. It's just insane to think about how much weight was on that guy's shoulders when he did that shit. But he was a psychopath, man. Go look at it. Like I showed you his fucking TikTok profile picture. I mean, it's just crazy.
The one who has sole access to it. Anybody can, any other criminal can have access to your car as well. There's people that you know.
Yeah, but Tesla records everything, Mr.
And
Lawyer.
there's people that you don't know who gain access to cars. There are very, very skilled people who can break into cars. If one was so inclined to do so, they could set David up for this. It just depends on how far somebody's willing to go.
Dude, if that Tesla is on, you have no idea. That Tesla records everything inside and out, bro.
The investigation seemed a little bit.
Look how they got Julio's killers. I mean, that was in 4K. It was like a movie.
Incomplete because of just the.
He wasn't indicted. So I will say he wasn't indicted the normal way.
Oh, trust me, Jessica, I've smelled it.
It had to be where the police. It looked like the police station did go rogue, and they arrested him and forced the district attorney's hands to press charges, because they were either you get this bad press of letting him go after the weekend's over, or you go on and press charges. What do you think about that situation?
Well, sometimes when it comes to famous people, all the eyes are on the district attorney's office or on the United States Attorney's Office, the Department of Justice, because they're trying to see what they're going to do. So it's like every time there's a crime, especially when it's heightened, it's like all eyes on that office, right? How fast are you going to work? How immediate are you going to work on this case? And sometimes it forces them to jump the gun. When I say them, I mean investigators, detectives, to say, well, this is him. It has to be him. And they literally exclude any and all investigations outside of David. And so because of that, it can be an incomplete investigation. That includes David being a victim himself from this girl, right? David being a victim of somebody targeting him. Those are possibilities out there. And that is a very reasonable possibility. But it's just, I feel like sometimes investigations move too fast. And when they move too fast, people can go to prison for a long time for something they did not do just because of the fame. David is no different than you, no different than the people in the chat, no different than any actors, Lil Pump, Aiden Ross, Neon. Okay, they're no different. They could be victims of the criminal justice system. And my job is to try to show their innocence. And what I'm telling you right now in regards to David is that it's quite possible that somebody else, there's another story than what these prosecutors are trying to paint him as.
With all this evidence, I know that for a fact that they're going to fight the murder charge tooth and nail, because that's the one where he's going to probably be facing the death penalty. They're talking about bringing it back just specifically for him. So you want to even concede on any, because I mean, to anybody, I don't see how you can convince a jury that they weren't in a sexual relationship. I mean, she quite literally had his name tattooed on her finger. And coincidentally, that finger is the one that got amputated.
Right, but anybody could have that. There are people who have Lil Wayne tatted on their body who have never seen Lil Wayne. Like right now, I know you. I can get your name, Gideon, tatted on my finger right now. Doesn't mean that me and you are having a sexual relationship. Doesn't mean me and you have kissed each other. Doesn't mean me and you have some type of relationship.
Yeah, I don't know if this guy's seen all the evidence, bro. Like, there's a picture of her and him at a restaurant eating, and she took a picture of her finger like this with a ring on it. So, I mean, explain that.
Side of friendship, it could be anything, or it could just be a fan. I'm a fan of you, Gideon.
So, what about the explicit photos to go along with all that are sent
I
between
want
the
to see
two?
those explicit photos. I want to see, like, as being an attorney, I'll be able to see all that. So I want to see how explicit are those photos. Are they really, my client? Are they really going towards and relevant to the charges that David has? So that's my job. I look at every piece of evidence that the government has, and I look at them like literally like splitting hairs, and I say, where did this come from? How did this arrive? How did you guys get this evidence? Can y'all even use it in court?
They said that they have 40 terabytes of evidence against him, and they said they found a significant amount of CSAM, and the prosecutors were voicing that very loudly. And, even his brother posted a couple days later, like, all pedophiles and rapists should die. You know what I mean? Like, turning public opinion against him. Would you attack?
I seen that post, but I didn't know it was his brother. Oh, my goodness.
One thing I was on my chat that I could see is that the defense would maybe attack Celeste's family. Because it looks like her family knew where she was, because there's videos and photos out there of Celeste with her cousins at different concerts related to David. The prosecutors are alleging that their connection first began when she was 11 years old.
Well, she also, the first time she ran away and then ended up coming back home for her cousin's graduation.
He was, I think he was a minor still, but the sexual relationship started when she was 13 and he was 18.
Okay. Those are just allegations. That's how I see it.
So would you go at it where like her parents were letting her see him, or would you just leave the parents out of it, you personally?
It depends on how the prosecutors build it. When I do my cases, like I prepare, but not really like prepare. Because the way I go to trial is like a boxing match. You can prepare as much as you want. If somebody throws a right hook, you counter it this way, but you can never prepare for what happens in that jury trial. So I keep my shit fluid. Like the way I react, it's more like playing defense, and I react to how the prosecutors, bring evidence. So even in my other trials, I don't really know who the witnesses are, and I just wait for them to show up, and I hear what they say, then I start attacking from there. If they're going to bring their family in regards to David, I'll prepare for that, and I'll act on it as soon as they bring it. So whatever story that the prosecutors are going to try to paint David as, and to link him to each element of that crime, I'm going to show otherwise, regardless of who they bring.
Would you waive David's would you advise him to waive his right to a speedy trial, or would you say, F all that, let's hurry this up, let's take it to trial? What would you do?
It
what
depends.
Would you advise?
Okay, so it depends. So yeah, I advise it, and it's ultimately up to my client. So whenever there's something that happens in court, everything is run through my client. So it's their case, but I'm, assisting them, right? That's my job. And so I will tell them all the good things and bad things if they speed it up. In regards to this case, there's good and bad to speeding shit up. Okay, so if you speed shit up, you'll be done with it ASAP. You don't have to worry about being in jail, because you don't know how people are treated in jail, right? Things can happen to you. You can get your stuff taken away from you. You can get your food taken away from you. You're away from your family. You're losing money.
Get your life taken.
There are people threatening you, and in a real sexual way, right? And it's not a good way, right? Especially these type of charges. He's a target in there. So sometimes people want to speed the trial up and say, let's just get this over with, so then we don't have to deal with it. It could be advantageous as a criminal defense attorney, because it's kind of like you want the prosecutors to move forward with an incomplete investigation. And that incomplete investigation shows that the cops didn't do the right job, and you got the wrong guy. So sometimes it can work out that way. But if you take your time, then maybe you can wait and get more evidence to show that it wasn't David, right? So it just really, really depends. There's so many different factors when it comes to, strategies of what you're going to do in representing, your client. But when it comes to me, everything's very fluid. So it just really, really depends on what I see.
What is interesting you so much about this David case that you've seen so far? What has pricked your mind where you're like, okay, this has been actually be in his favor? Or what is something that you've seen where, okay, what about this case is something that you've seen that could be in his favor? And what is something that you've seen that you think will be a very hard mountain to climb going through with this case?
In his favor is probably hiring me, because I like challenges. So, that's the reason why I like taking cases, because if you can get the most unbeatable cases and you beat that shit, it makes you feel really, really good inside. Like for me, selfishly, it does. I get this type of high that fentanyl can't match, drugs can't match, women can't match, money can't match. It's a high. And only those who win in jury trials know what high this is, okay? The advantages that he could have is hiring me. The disadvantages is not hiring me, because Yeah, it's just one of those things where I really want to attack this case. I see that he's a victim of this girl or society. He's a victim of the public, and you know,
he is rage baiting. For him to say he's a victim of this girl is so unacceptable.
I need to do whatever I can to show that he's not this monster that the prosecutors are painting him as. I was listening to the song 3 times this morning. Like, it's a great song.
Bro, he's talking about like murdering people in his song.
It's art, just like 50 Cent, Jay-Z. It's all art. I'm a fan of his art. But he's a
okay. Besides you, what is an advantage and disadvantage?
You know what it reminds me of? This whole romantic homicide song and stuff like that. It reminds me of YNW Melly, the whole Murder on My Mind situation. Like, he made that song way long before, but something ended up happening that was exactly what the song said.
That is in this case that you see. Besides you,
the advantage is that it looks like this was done in California, which is a crime, or not California, but LA, right? It's a high crime area. And there's other reasons that caused the death of this girl, other than him. That's why I see an advantage of, and she's motivated, to go after him.
Dude, she was 11, 12, and 13 years old. That's a baby. How could you even say that with a straight face?
The other thing, the disadvantages that I see in this case is that he never called me. If he would have called me or his family would have reached out to me, I'll take that case. David, if you're listening, I'll take your case for free. If you reach out to my office, JM Law Firm, I will take your case for free. Don't forget that, and it's recorded.
okay, what is the disadvantage besides you? What is the disadvantage besides you?
That's it. Because anytime any charges come, there's no factual disadvantage.
Asshole.
Dude, look at me. My client looked at the camera in my last trial, okay? He looked at the camera and shot him 3 times. 3 times, all right? And I was able to get his ass probation. He'll be done in 5 years. It's the most unbeatable cases that I look at. And so when I see David shit, it looks like a really good challenge. And it's gonna make me feel really good if I can get him a good outcome.
What would be a good outcome for you, for David, if you did his case?
Dismissal or not guilties. Actually, F that. Not dismissals, not guilties. Because I want to meet the prosecutor right there at that trial. I want them to see, and I want them to do the whole work, put all the evidence there, and for them to lose. Once that happens, this is like this feeling that you get inside, this rush, that will linger for like the next week. I'm chasing that. So, David, if your people are listening, get at me.
Okay, genuinely. Can you give, because you gave one advantage that the defense has, can you give, without including yourself, without including the name Jay Yoma, excluding yourself completely, can you give, what is the biggest hurdle of this case that you can see?
He's black. That's a big hurdle. No, dude. All right, anybody listening? I'm in trials. Like, do you know the color of your skin? It still poses a threat. It really does. Like, there are people who will find you guilty just by the look of your face. And when they say the look of your face, it don't mean your nose, your lips, your eyes. It's the color of your skin. And that's like a reality that's out there.
So would you take this case a racial route?
It might be possible to include that, because it's something that I would say potential jurors, if they're going to be on your case, that they can't shake off. There are some people who are still mad about slavery being overturned. There's still mad. There's some people who are still mad about interracial dating. Right? Nope. There's some people out there who don't like that a black guy's dating a non-black girl, or a black guy's talking to a non-black girl.
But
or a black guy's successful.
That non-black guy, that black guy dating a non-white girl is a minor.
I'm talking about somebody before. I'm not talking about the girl who died. All right? No, but like on a serious note, it's one of those things. If you're in an interracial relationship and you're a black male, there's a lot of people who are looking at you already that they want you to pay, because it doesn't make them feel good to see that. And I see that as a criminal defense attorney. And so when my clients, whether they're minorities or not minorities, I have to be mindful of that. Do you see that? I can't just neglect that and say that, oh, this world is great. There's no racism out there. It's there. And sometimes that racism could be the difference between you doing 0 prison time or you doing your whole life in prison. So I think that is a disadvantage that he was just born with. And also the fact that he's famous. Nobody likes seeing that. They see a young guy, good looking, and he's getting all this fame. He's doing well for himself at that age. Nobody already likes that. And people who are internally racist, they don't like seeing that it's a black guy doing it. So that's a disadvantage that he has. It can be cured with the way I attack my cases.
Yeah, well, some of the biggest serial killers in America were white. So
how would you go about, because isn't it like half and half, where the prosecutor selects some jurors and the defense selects some jurors? Isn't that how it works? Or how's that process work?
All right, so the whole, it's called voir dire, right? Or voir dire, depending on what state you're at. But pretty much you have to choose, there has to be like 14 people that get chosen on whether you can be guilty or not guilty. All right, the difference between you going to prison and you not going to prison. You having a conviction, you not having a conviction. You being on the sex offender registry list, you being not on the sex offender registry list. Or most important, you getting the death penalty and you not getting the death penalty. There's gonna be 14 people that's supposed to be chosen out of probably 100, okay? And there's 100 random people in that county that you have to make sure that you have to find out their biases, if they're racist, if they don't feel good about the certain charge. So I'll give you an example. You have 100 people. Who's going to determine your life, Gideon, right?
Yeah.
Brazoria County, okay? Not Harris, Brazoria County, okay? They don't like guys.
I mean, in all honesty, like if you're David, you would want this guy because he's like just giving every out for him to have, you know. But I mean, some of the things he's saying is just wild.
Who wear do-rags. They don't like guys who have super coily hair. They don't like guys who have melanin in their skin, right?
He is right about that in Brazoria County.
And that's something to take into consideration, right? So those people can tell you, hey, I'm fine. You know, I'm not going to be biased against this guy. But you can see the way they answer it. They've been hurt before. And they want to use this trial to get on this case, hijack it, and find your client guilty to make them feel good. I will tell you, there's people in juries that lick their lips like, oh, I'm ready. I'm ready. The same way that any criminal would look at you like a lick, like, I'm about to get out of this car. This guy right here has a nice gold chain. I'm about to go get it. It's that same look that they have, that there's a target, there's a way for me to express my anger and take it out, and it's a legal way this time, right? And as a juror in the criminal justice system, it's a legal way to convict somebody. So me being an attorney, I have to be mindful of all that. So there are important questions, but also important observations.
Yeah, that's why they want the jury pool to be diverse and stuff like that. Like if there's women on the jury, or if there's, you know, a certain type of people on the jury, they want it to be diverse.
When I look at these jurors, because when they're chosen, I mean, they're not chosen, they're actually deselected. So you get rid of the people who are racist, who are biased against your client. And the only ones who are there.
So get rid, like you specifically as a defense lawyer, get rid of them?
No. So me and the
selection.
prosecutors, we have 10 strikes. So it's a game. Anybody's watching. Being an attorney and going to trial is like a basketball game or a boxing match. That's all it is. It's a game. And you have to choose and be strategically there the whole way, before, during, and after. Okay, so in this particular part of the trial, you have to get rid of people who are going to do harm to your client. And you can tell by the way they answer. They could look at your client and just be like this and just stare at him, you know? And you can ask about the background. Did you ever grow up with minorities in your school? How many minority friends do you have? How do you feel about rap music? Does it rub your certain way? How do you feel about interracial dating? And sometimes they'll answer it. 100% they'll answer it with their nonverbal, but maybe they won't answer it verbally, but you have to look at them nonverbally. If they show that they have some type of animosity towards just the subject you're talking about, you got to get rid of them. Because if you don't, your client, say goodbye. Because there are sometimes people get on the jury, they don't even care about the evidence. They don't even look at it. They don't need to look at the photos. They don't need to hear witness statements. The fact that they've been hurt before and they don't like the way your client looks, or they don't like the charge that your client has, is enough.
Well, it's like the Diddy trial too. Remember that one girl came out and said, you know, oh, there were people in there that went in there with the mindset already that he was guilty. Shit like that.
For them to convict. And that's dangerous. So there's more to just arguing this case. Like you have to be on the swivel 24 hours constantly, because you have the prosecutors who's looking to get them on there, who's looking to get somebody.
So the prosecutor, the prosecutors that are prosecuting David, they're gonna want to try to get those people, is what you're saying.
Hell yeah. Who wouldn't? If I was a prosecutor, I'd be looking for the most racist guy out there. Oh yeah? Your wife cheated on you with a black man? Oh, okay. We want that guy right there. We want that guy right there. Oh, your granddaughter was robbed by a black guy? Oh yeah, we want that one right there. They will fight to keep that guy on there. My job is to try to get rid of him. We only have 10 strikes.
What do you mean 10 strikes?
All right, so there's 100 people in the room. 10 strikes meaning I can strike this guy, and this guy, and this guy. We don't want him for whatever reason.
Oh, so like they can't even dispute you on it?
No, you can't.
No, they bring in a bunch of jurors, Gideon, and then they pit the defense and the prosecution get to pick their jurors, right? I think it's the prosecution too. I'm not sure.
Okay. They can say, no, I'm a good guy. I have black friends, and you say, nah, I don't trust that. You know when people say shit and you don't trust it? Yeah. And you go, nah, I don't believe you. Strike. We only have 10. And sometimes you have to do the best you can, because you go to a county where everybody don't like your guy, don't like the way your guy looks. You got to do the best you can.
So after those 10, let's say after those 10, the 11th guy.
Well, it's crazy to think that you can find jurors that haven't heard about the case, you know? Especially when cases are so big like this one, it's hard to believe that you'll find some people who are completely oblivious to it. But I mean, I guess you can, you know, but sometimes it's like when cases are so high profile, it's crazy to think that some people don't know about them.
You're real sketched out about him, but you're out of your 10 strikes. How do you get him off the case?
There's different strategies. I'm not going to reveal it because prosecutors are listening. But there's different ways to get rid of them. But all I can say is, like, you do your best. Whatever comes out in that jury, those 14 people, whatever comes out, you gotta show them the evidence, and hopefully they listen. Because sometimes, and I'll tell you this, right? Being an attorney, you can have all the evidence on your case, the good evidence. But if the jury ain't listening to you, they don't give a damn. And the only way I can show that is that, and you've been to school, right? You went to high school, right? I'm pretty sure a bunch of your viewers, like people in the chat, they're in school right now, or they've been in school. Being a lawyer is like this. You will answer the questions on the test, and you will show the teacher that how you got to the answer, and it is the correct answer. 2 + 2 = 4, right? But when it comes to you getting your test graded, the teacher can say, I don't even need to look at your test. I don't even need to look at your test. You failed. Even though you passed, you did everything right. You failed. And that's
happened to me, because I would show my work and it wouldn't be right, and they'd mark me wrong just because the way I showed my work, but I had the right answer.
how being an attorney is like in jury trial, because you can show all the evidence that show your client's innocent. And the jury, like I told you, who don't like your client because of how he looks, can say, I don't give a damn. He is guilty from the beginning. And I knew that coming into trial, and I knew that when I answered your questions, and it's gonna make me feel good to put him away for a long time. So when you see that picture of Lady Justice, you know that lady who has that blonde.
And I think the fact that it was a minor, and Celeste allegedly met her when she was 11 and she was 14 when she got killed, I think that has a big weight on it too.
Blindfold on and she's holding the scale.
Yeah.
That shit is real. It's really blind, because they weren't there. I wasn't there. Cops weren't there. Prosecutor wasn't there. Judges weren't there at the time of all these alleged crimes. So they have to make a decision on a guy's life where he could be looking at death penalty, being put on a sex offender registry list, prison time, being away from his family, just based on what's the evidence that's there. And you can't force them. You can't show them and say, hey, you have to look at this. You have to look at this. No, they can just say, I don't want to look at that shit. I'm gonna vote guilty. And there's not a goddamn thing you could do about it. So that's the life.
By the way, I do not agree with, like, I'm not looking at the comments. I'm not agreeing with what people are saying about race. I don't see color. I see humans. So I'm not looking at the comments.
Here, do you see that?
Yeah.
So imagine, Gideon, you're my client. Somebody doesn't like you for whatever reason because you have a horrible blue shirt. Imagine you're wearing a blue drag and you're wearing a blue do-rag and a blue shirt. Imagine if a blood was part of that jury and goes, oh, fuck no. And just look at you.
Yeah, no, that would suck. That would suck.
Oh yeah, big time. Big time. Oh, you shot my big homie? You look like the guy who shot my big homie. Oh, you going down.
But you know what? Everything, I'm gonna be honest. Everything you're saying about these jurors, all of that, I think everybody in the chat agrees with you on. But that's why we don't go off of our feelings. We look at the evidence. And
but sometimes people don't look at the evidence.
Well, we're looking at the evidence of this David case, and we're all saying he's fucked. Like,
yeah, y'all are saying that, but y'all have no power to determine whether he's guilty or not because you're not part of that jury. That's what I'm saying.
But when the jury looks at that evidence, there is no way when the jury looks at that evidence, they're not going to come to the same conclusion as us. There's no way.
You say that, and I agree with you. But the people in this jury, they
O.J. Simpson
have their own motives too. They've been hurt before. They've been through life. They have their own likes and dislikes. And you can't control that. God only controls that. And the only thing I can control is to see it during jury selection, to make sure that those people who hate my client for whatever reason cannot be there. They can't. And I'm going to fight whatever I can just to keep them off that and make sure that the people who are chosen are going to be somebody who is open to listen to all the evidence as they actually look at it.
So with all of this evidence stacking against David, there's no way you're going to try to get the best plea deal for him.
Fuck that. I'm not playing to shit. I don't play that plea game. I don't play that. Any prosecutor, any attorney who knows me, I don't play that, hey, please, have mercy on this guy. No, we're fighting this. You understand me? We're fighting this from the beginning to the end. There is no surrender here. And that's how I always attack my cases. And that's why I get the results that I get. Because I don't play games.
No plea deal. It's either we win or we die on the sword.
My clients will hire me. Check this out. They're the ones who decide whether they take the plea or not. The plea has to be provided by the prosecutors. And it's my job to just be like, all right, dude, here's a plea. You want to take it or not? Here's a good reason of taking it. Here's a bad reason of taking it. If you take this deal, this is what's going to happen to you. And sometimes what prosecutors like to do is they play cute games. And here's one game that I'll tell you that they play. They try to throw like a small amount of jail time on you. Actually, no jail time. They'll say, you know what? Tell your client no jail time. Just take this deal. And if he takes the deal, he might end up getting deported. So it's kind of like they'll make it seem like it's really, really sweet. But
Why
it really
would
isn't.
David get deported?
Because remember, these are the ops. This is the government. This is the people who's trying to put you away for a long time, okay? They're not your friends. In fact, they're the opposite of that. They want to kill you. They want you away from your family. So when I tell them, hey, look, it looks like a sweet deal, it's not. We got to fight this. So that's why when I go to trial, I make sure every prosecutor that comes across me, you're going to bleed a little bit, or you're going to bleed a lot, because I'm going to make that trial really, really difficult for you to win. And when you lose, you lost 5-10 days going to trial with me, and
You know, now hearing this guy talk, I want to see him go on David's case. Like, David, you need to hire this man, okay? Because I want to see it.
lost it all.
So
Everything is
that
on-
prosecutor with the guy that, if, for you guys that just joined in, he had a client who shot somebody 3 times and then did the duck face on camera. He was found guilty.
What a savage. Imagine I do a duck face on camera after blasting you 3 times.
But Jay Oma got it to where instead of doing 20
I
years
use
in prison,
Opus Clip
all he had to
poll,
do was probation
or I
for
mean,
5
skip-
years. So no jail time, probation for 5 years. So even though on paper that prosecutor got a conviction, would you say that was a loss for the prosecutor?
Hell yeah. He didn't even shake my hand after the trial. And he was pissed because, look, they don't show this because, well, nobody was there, but nobody sees the interaction between attorneys, right? Outside of court. So right when he was found guilty, my client's crying, his family's crying, he's looking at 20 years. These are real years. This ain't no, oh, I'm just gonna do a little bit. No, this is prison. Prison, you know, people get stabbed, they get bullied, they get raped, okay? He was looking at 20 years because he was found guilty over the weekend. Prosecutor said, I want him to be in Harris County Jail for 2 days for the weekend. And just because they found him guilty, they put him in jail. And he was crying. Like, it's one of those feelings that hit you. So when Monday came, right, for the punishment phase, okay, he was found guilty already. Now we got to determine punishment. It's either as low as probation or 20 years prison time. I talked to the prosecutor and I said, hey, don't y'all guys usually make an offer like 7 years, 8 years, go to prison, and we don't have to go forward with this hearing because my client's going to risk a lot. If we go forward with the punishment phase, this jury can give him 20 years. That's risky, right? Who's going to risk that?
He has contradicted himself. Welcome in, McFall. He has contradicted himself so he doesn't play that plea game. Now he's trying to talk about how you want asking for a plea.
There's a video of you shooting this guy, and they just found you guilty. So you can't say it's allegedly. They found you guilty on this. All right. So the prosecutor was cute. Like, he was very cute in what he said to me. He said, I can make a deal. Just show me some papers, like some check stubs. And I went out there and I went to go get it. I got everything. I got all the information that he needed. And then the prosecutor goes, no, that's not enough. And I was like, you told me to get this for you. Why aren't you taking it? And he goes, it's not my job to teach you how to be a good attorney. You know, that's your job. They do this cute stuff to piss you off, right? So when that happened, I knew he just sent me on a bullshit run to just get me to do all this work for nothing, right? When he really wasn't trying to offer anything. Which, by the way, my client would have taken 9 years if it was offered. Before this punishment phase, if they would have offered 9 years, he would have taken it, and he would have been in prison. But the prosecutor didn't do that, and he goes, we're going to go forward with this punishment. And they asked for 20 years. So I said, all right, fuck it. Let me knuckle up right now, all right? We got to keep fighting. And we did. And we ended up winning that. The jury came back after my arguments and said probation. No prison time. And I hugged my client afterwards, and I looked at the prosecutor. His head was down. His head was down, because I don't play around like that. And my client was happy. He looked at his family. He went back to the jail and said, I'm coming out in 24 hours. He called me at 6 o'clock the next morning and said, I'm out. And I said, I'm glad to hear your voice, man. He shaved. He got a haircut. He looks good on that video. But before that video was there, he looked like crap, dude. And he was looking at 20. No matter how bad things get, my job is to always keep fighting no matter what. And so that prosecutor, I'm going to see him again. And he will remember this trial.
So now that prosecutor, if he goes against you, he'll probably give you a plea.
Oh, hey, that prosecutor. Michael, if you're listening to me, any case that you have in front of me, we're going to trial. I ain't fucking around.
What's the prosecutor's last name? What's the prosecutor's last name? Say his full name.
I'm not going to say his last name. But Michael, if I see you and that chief prosecutor, we're going to trial. I don't care what the plea offer is. You can offer my client, listen to me, you can offer my client a dismissal for him to take a class. Fuck that. We're going to trial. I'm going to make an example out of you and the whole entire office for doing what y'all did to me in that trial. And y'all already got a piece of me right now. 20 years down to probation. How do y'all feel about that? Y'all could have offered 9. He would have taken 9 years. He didn't take it.
Chat, I don't think this is like the W you guys think it is. Because now in the future, if Michael is representing a pedophile that raped some kids,
I know, right?
He's taking this to trial.
100%.
Fuck it. We're going to try. We got to knuckle up. Gian, this is how it works, all right? You got to knuckle up. And you got to be about it. You got to fight. And you got to show these other prosecutors you're willing to fight. If not, they're going to run all over you. Let me tell you something else. If I showed them I was a little pussy, if I was weak, if I showed them that, every time I have a case, they're going to be like, 19 years. That's a plea deal. Just to mess with you. Because they know you're not going to be able to knuckle up in trial. You got to show these prosecutors that you can win in trial. You understand me? And that's the only way that they can respect you when you walk into that courtroom and they give you what you want. So next time I have a case, I want a dismissal. If not, we're going to trial.
Chat, this is...
It's real shit.
And you're being real, man. I told my chat before, like, chat, Jay almost represented me. I had 6 months over my head. Bro, that's stressful as hell, man. Like, 6 months in my... Like, I would have just now been getting out of jail. He got my stuff from 6 months in jail to 2 years probation.
And you'll be done with that.
And,
literally,
my probation is just literally stuff that I already don't do. Don't get arrested. Don't do drugs. I'm not out here doing pranks no more. And even if I do get arrested, you know, if it's in Texas, I'm gonna hit back up Jay. I hate it. I hate it, chat. Like, you know, because my whole thing is getting these dudes locked up. But you hate people like Jay Yoma until you need a Jay Yoma.
Yeah. When the prosecutors come after you, they're coming after you like how I come after these cases. Can you imagine me as a prosecutor? You know what I do to anybody that's out there? I don't care whether you stole a pack of gum or you ran a red light. I'm gonna try to get you to do maximum prison time on that shit. It works the same way. You're a lot better, especially in that county, right, Gian? Going to jail in that county is not fun.
Yeah, no. I would have been in the same jail as the dude I got locked up. It's like, where does the humanity come in? Where it's like, this is a 14-year-old girl who was murdered, right? A real 14-year-old girl has been murdered, and then before all that, like, we can both agree, no grown man should be with a 14-year-old girl, right? Let's take David out of it, right? Somebody had sex with her. Somebody murdered and dismembered her body. We're very analytical people where the evidence presents it. What would you want for the person who did this crime to her? What would you want to happen to that person that did this crime to her?
The person who actually really did this?
Yeah, the person who really actually did this. What would you want to happen to them?
Depends on what I can argue. If I was a prosecutor, I'd go for the maximum. That's just because just the way prosecutors think. I'm trying to get a pay raise. So if I can make this guy go to prison for a long time and I get a better office, I'll take it. If I can get, an extra couple of dollars per hour for putting this guy away, I'll take it. That's a normal human incentive to do that.
Okay.
So I can see the prosecutor's side, but hey, man, I'm 100% defense. If my clients are being accused of something, they never did that shit. And if they did, good luck trying to prove it. Because I'm going to be right there in every stage of the whole trial, from beginning to the end. No matter how bad shit gets, I'm always going to be there. And you know that. As personal experience, you know that. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
This is the interview with Jay Yoma.
All right, that's it. I just wanted to go over that. I found that pretty interesting to hear his take on everything and what he'd do. But, if you are a lawyer, I suppose he's the kind you would want, right? Because he is apparently a pit bull off his leash trying to just defend everything. But I appreciate you guys for being here today. I'm going to go to the gym. Skippy, thanks for being here. Jessica, Stacy, everybody who's here, I really do appreciate you. Wisconsin, much love. Make sure you support the channel by hitting subscribe, notification bell, like the stream. Go check out the other videos. Go follow me See Me Now on Facebook, official SMN701 on Instagram. See Me Now on Twitter, everything. Go follow me, go follow me, go follow me. Follow me on Kick as well. I appreciate you guys. If you want to support the channel when I'm not on here, go to my Ko-Fi, the link in my bio, and donate through there. YouTube does take a brutal 30%. Ko-Fi only, I got donated $50 the other day. Ko-Fi only took $5. I don't know what percentage that is, 10%, whatever the fuck. But yeah, show some love and support. I appreciate you guys. Support your boy. Help me be able to do this every day from Monday to Friday, from about 9:30 in the morning to whenever on days I don't go to the gym, I'll go longer, but I gotta get that grind in, man. Much love, Down McFall. I appreciate you, Jessica, Wisconsin, Stacy.